All right. So let me talk about how I met Chorkor Millionaire. I think about 3 years ago, I was on YouTube looking for how to move to Canada through the education route. So I was just browsing videos and I came across this man who was passionate about, you know, dishing out information on Canada. I was like, who is this guy? So that's where I decided to watch all his videos, and he can attest to that fact. I watched almost all the videos, and I reached out to him. We became friends from there. At the time, he had about I think 6,000 followers on YouTube and about 40,000 on Facebook. And so when I saw that he had about 40,000 on Facebook, I was like, wow. Then this man has been doing this thing for long. And today he has over 100,000 followers who are all interested about how to move to Canada. So I'm going to invite him to briefly talk about himself, um, his background, where he's coming from, the inspiration behind Chorkor Millionaire. Because for those of you in Ghana, you know how whenever someone says Chorkor, we know that the person is coming from an underdeveloped area. So for his name to be Chorkor and then Millionaire at the same time, a lot of you have questions. So he's going to address his background, where he's coming from, and his inspiration to travel to Canada. So, brother, Chorkor Millionaire, you're welcome on board.
Thank you very much, my brother Danny Legend, the one and only legend. Charlie, this is my first time on Twitter as like this, so it's a new experience. It feels like a radio session, but I like the podcast vibe.
Yeah.
For anyone who is watching from different parts of the world, I want to say thank you for making time to share your busy day with us, your weekend. Appreciate Ambitious Lukman and everybody else, Joshua, Julie Kez, Michael, Kwiku, Omega, all of you guys, man. Much love to you guys. My Bismarck Yeboah, Charlie, connecting all the way from Europe. Appreciate all you guys for sticking in here. Appreciate you. So my name is Chorkor Millionaire on social media, but that is not my name on my ID. That's just my social media. I'm originally from Ghana in West Africa. I am 100% Ewe. So that is a tribe in Ghana, in the Volta region, closer to Togo. But I did not grow up in the Volta region. I was born in the eastern part of Ghana, eastern region, in a small town sandwiched between Asamankese and Adesu called Mipom. So that's where I was born. So after some few years, my dad, who had moved to Accra to hustle in Accra as a driver, got news that I was becoming a bit stubborn growing up, and I wasn't in school, so I was just causing trouble. And I was probably around 6, 7 years old around that time. I wasn't in school, not nursery, nothing. So my grandmom, who is blessed memory now, called my dad and said, Charlie, you have to come and take your son away. He's causing too much trouble here. So I came to Accra to join my father. And I remember my first time in Accra was just in complete awe, seeing the street lights around the Achimota area, where we have Peace FM now. Those days, it wasn't, Peace FM was just about starting. And I remember the beauty of Accra. I just was so mesmerized. I was looking at this big city. I'm saying, wow, wow. So is there a place that is so big and so nice like this? I know I've been village boy, right? And I was a child too. So anyway, we settled in CMB temporarily because my father was looking for a place for us to move to a better, bigger place. He was crashing in a friend's kiosk, a makeshift kiosk or container kind of thing in CMB. Those of you who are familiar with CMB. So when I moved to Accra, he saw the need to move to a better place. So Chorkor ended up being the ideal place in terms of his budget, very cheap. We ended up moving to Chorkor, and we stayed just down the Lantimami area, which is a very popular spot in Chorkor, or area in Chorkor. And he put me in school, Chorkor Presby Primary School. And because I was older than the guys in class 1 or primary 1, they made me go to primary 2 straight. And I was still old, sat in the class and Charlie, everybody, I didn't speak no Ga at all, just Tree and Ewe at that time. Couldn't speak English as well. And Charlie, you know, the Chorkor Ga community, everybody was just speaking the kwe, which is like a local term for hey, like kind of just like hey man, hey man, hey man, hey buddy, you know, kwe. And I remember I used to just get so angry, and I would tell the boys or my classmates that hey, my name is not Kwe, my name is not Kwe. My name is this. My name is not Kwe, you know, and and all of that. But in no case, we learn fast. So as time went on, I settled in, started picking the language, a bit the Gan language, and then later on, it became probably my strongest local language that I speak, even now up to now. So that is the background. I grew up, and I mean, I schooled in Chorkor Presby, did my primary education there till class 6. Then I moved on to Gono 3 JSS, just around the Tuesday market area in Mamprobi near Bu or Gono. So I went to Gono 3 JSS and did my junior high school there for 3 years. Then from there, I moved to Accra Academy, in between Odapo and Carnation in Accra, around First Light. Did my high school there in business, as a business student, majored in elective maths, accounting, and all of that, economics. I was hoping to enter the business school of Ghana's premier university, or first university, University of Ghana, but I was unlucky. They didn't accept me for that, and they ended up giving me political science and sociology. So that is where my university education also started. That was in between 2008 all the way to 2012. And from there, my final year, a casual friend who was a roommate of a course mate of mine, Ernest Rafokine. Ernest Rafokine was my course mate. We did sociology together. He had this roommate in the Kwafo Hall who was a bit older than us, a mature man. And at some point, he shared the opportunity of traveling abroad with me. And that was how I caught news of uh, Canada. At this point, I didn't know anything about scholarships abroad. I used to think that it was for the rich people, it was for people who were on government of Ghana scholarship, or just the people who are well placed in society. So that was how come I ended up applying, and then I came to Canada. But it wasn't a smooth sail. I initially applied in 2012 to University of Carleton in Canada. That was the only school I applied to with my first class. And they denied me the admission and said it was too competitive. So I kind of gave up a bit, and then ended up rekindling my interest again later in the year. Connected with some really, really good friends. I think I had like 3 good friends. One was our senior by 1 year. One was my classmate in political science, Raf. Raf now lives in British Columbia. We used to meet and just strategize on how to apply to schools, and just kind of inspire each other, encourage each other on how to put the documents together, how to write your statement of purpose to apply for the scholarships and all of that. And we put applications all across, like Norway. Norway was like our number one target around that time. People were going to Norway. Yeah, Norway had this like massive scholarship scheme called the quota system, right? The quota scholarship, where it was so easy to get into Norway, do a master's or a PhD, and it was tuition free. You know, in the Scandinavian country, education is free, right? So we didn't even need to pay. It was full scholarship, and they were giving like really good stipend. Some of our seniors who went there, we noticed that by the time they finished their first semester or second semester, and they returned to Ghana for data collection as part of their thesis project work. Charlie, some of them were already buying like SUVs, some were getting married to their fiancés or girlfriends, some were even building 3, 4 bedroom houses. And we're like, I used to, we used to be like, Charlie, but these guys, no be just 6, 7 months ago, way they just go away. All of a sudden, yeah, you know. So when we saw it, we're like, Charlie, then Norway be the deal, Norway be the deal. We they go make the Norwegian krona song, right? And guys were really hyping Norway. They were like, Charlie, even Norway, if they sell newspaper, yeah, there was this job that students used to do aside from being a TA in Norway and receiving stipends. There was this popular job that most of the guys were doing. Were doing newspaper drop off in people's mailbox. You know how be like you go open your mailbox for your house with some newspapers or those kind of like grocery store newspapers. No good day or this. The boys were distributing those and they were making money. They were Charlie. They were like the Norwegian krona, Charlie. He be heavy. He get value to. He get so Charlie. They were whetting our appetite. Eventually, I put in like 6 applications in Norway, University of Oslo, University of Bergen, Norwegian University of Science and Technology, what is called NTNU. Oh, Charlie, a bunch of schools we applied. Then I did UK, then I did US, then I did Canada. So this was all in 2013, by the way, late 2012 into early 2013. Charlie, by then, man making my say go left because at that time I had just finished University of Ghana in 2012. I didn't have a job, and my confidence level in terms of how I was going to transition was like in the negative. I had no hope. I was also one of the guys who did not involve myself in like partisan politics on campus, like the way guys who join TESCON, which is the student chapter of the ruling government, NPP in Ghana, or people were joining TAIN, which is the student or tertiary wing of the opposition party, the largest opposition party in Ghana. I did not meddle in those kind of student politics. Now, most of our colleagues who entered, they kind of had their connections in politics. So they will get their national service in Tema Port. Some of them will be at the Parliament House. Some of them will even be posted to Flagstaff. But I didn't. I didn't do those kind of politics. So we didn't have those connections. And of course, my background, where I did come from, Charlie, I be the only person I cross JSS. So I be the only person.
Wow.
Basically in Ghana, like PG, it means I'm the only person from among the over a dozen siblings born to my father who has made it past grade 9. That is how serious it is.
Wow.
Right. So for me to make it all the way to this level, you can imagine like where they go call for connection. My father, obviously, no nobody. I didn't know nobody. Nobody knew me. Like, you know what I mean? It be just student level. They have no connection. So I'm basically trying to say that life after University of Ghana was dream. It was really, really dream for me. I was so unsure of what I was going to do. And I remember I had saved up a little bit of money. I had saved up a little bit of money from my student entrepreneurship that I was doing on campus. By the way, for a lot of people who don't know, how I was able to finance my education at the University of Ghana was that I was selling replica jerseys. Um, what you call like a customized replica jersey with your name at the back. Think of it like you wearing your typical Chelsea or Manchester United or Arsenal home kit or away jersey with your own name at the back, like, Doreen or, Uma or Frank at the back or Kwesi at the back. That was what your boy was doing on campus. I was selling those jerseys and then making a little bit of commission or profit. And that was how I was able to save money to pay my fees and feed myself. So by the time I had finished University of Ghana, I had saved up a little bit of money and followed the advice of a friend and said, you know what, Charlie, let's go into agriculture. So I went into aqua fishing or aqua agric. I did tilapia, went as far as a small village, which is just a few minutes away from Asesawa. Those of you from Ghana, you probably will know Asesawa from our early days primary school textbooks. A market day at Asesawa.
Yeah.
First,
English course for Ghanaian schools.
it was in our English textbook. So
Yeah.
there was a small village by Asesawa called Akrusu. Akrusu. Charlie, my party where I made for Legon during he was doing distance education. He advised me that Charlie, fish farm they boom for those areas, especially the Somania area going there. People are doing fish. Charlie, let's go and put money into it and do it. And Charlie, I carry all my investment go to tilapia fish farm. It didn't go well, Charlie. And I think the reason why it didn't go well was because I was disadvantaged in different ways. I wasn't living in the area. I was shuffling in between. I was shuttling between Accra and Kumasi, Esueboa, and this project is happening in Eastern region around the upper no, I think the lower Manya Krobo area, as I saw. So we had to get a caretaker there. Charlie, eventually, bottom line short, we say the thing will go well. Part of it, I will blame myself. We were not really making time to go there and check on the project as often. We cannot trusted caretakers to do the job for us. And eventually, the result didn't go as well. We realized that actually things could have been better. So if you're a young guy coming out of university, doing projects in areas you are not living in and overseeing things yourself, just know that you could easily run into problems like not getting proper care, not having your money actually going into what is supposed to be. If you're not even lucky at all, you could even have caretakers who actually squander your money. You send them money to buy maybe some raw materials for your project, and then the money will be going to their pocket, right? Trust issues here and there. But I was just unlucky. The thing didn't go well. I ended up losing about 70% of the investment we made. So just imagine you putting like 100% in and you got only like 30% back, right? And that was like my entire savings. That was it just before I ended up coming to Ghana. I think I'll pause there if you have any other question, or we can go on. I'll pause there for now. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I see how your strategy of having a friend who was working with you in applying really like kept you going. And this shows us how teamwork is very, very vital when it comes to applying for school. Because the truth is, if you are not someone who knows how to motivate themselves, you are going to give up. I have a friend who says that anytime she opens the application portal, she freaks out and stops applying. So one of the things that you can do, I believe you can do to help yourself is always have an accountability partner, just like you had one who kept you going. So it's really, really vital. Now, I want to know, what are the different immigration programs in Canada that provide pathways for international students to study and work in the country?
All right. Before we go into that, let me just pick up on the friendship thing, Charlie. Friendship, maybe like two-edged sword, though. It be serious like gift or asset in a man's life if you have the right friends. Yeah. The Bible says in the book of Proverbs that there is a friend who sticks more closer than even a brother. The friendship between Jonathan and David was described as an extraordinary friendship. That cannot be compared to even to your typical love story. And we've also heard stories about friendships like that of Job and his three friends. When Job was in his crisis, hoping that his friends would give him a bit of a shoulder, they came and rather pinning him down. And then, so friendship is real. It's real. If you actually know how to leverage your friendship, you will know that friendship is an incredible resource to have. The way me I see friends or friendship is I see friendship as a resource from God, who is the source.
All right.
Friendship is a resource from God, who is the source. God be the source. We being where they plant the friends around us, especially the right friends around us, as a resource to take us to the next step. You see, those days, God was talking to people directly. Charlie, you go here, then God say, hey, me this, so I they drop manna from heaven. But I say right now, God know they talk to you directly like that too. You be some spiritual person where you dig deep, where if you have those kind of levels of conversation with God.
Yeah.
But right now, God, they appear to us mostly through like human beings, right? So the good news, miracles we are all looking for, it be human beings where God they use, they take to deliver the good news. Your breakthrough messages, or it be human beings where God they use. So if you dare as a human being where they invest in building the right friendship, Charlie, it go hurt you. It go set your clock back big time. When I was at Legon was probably where friends have played a key role in my entire journey. My secondary school, I couldn't have finished my secondary school without friends. There were times where Charlie, your boy no fee buy food self eat for the whole day. It be boys hook we up. It is him. I finished secondary school. I didn't have any job. Charlie, high school, which job you go get? If you even get lucky, if you get lucky enough, you may get employed to become a comm center operator. Those days when we used to go and pay to make phone calls, there were no smartphones like we have now. You get a job as a comm center person, and how much would you even be paid doing that job? Or an internet cafe will hire you, or we're just walking around a high school graduates, those who had money will go and learn computing, hardware, and software at IPMC and stuff. But we, those of us without money, were mostly just walking around in the area and vibing with boys. When I finished secondary school, it took a friend called Gabriel Nkum, who was in another school, but was then my mate in primary school, to tell me that, Charlie, you'll be too smart. You are too smart. Come and let's go and do people's teaching. Come and let's go and do people's teaching. So, in way, he hold my hand, carry me from Chorkor, go wager SCC barrier, find me job for Royal Home Academy, SCC barrier. We go Royal Rose, go teach. If that teaching we are go do, we are save money, take by my University of Ghana form, apply for school. So without that friend, my life would have been a different story. When I went to University of Ghana, it took a friend to introduce me to the replica jersey business when I didn't have any money to pay for my residential facility user fee, which is cost hostel or accommodation fee. It took a friend. It took a friend like Jonathan Appiah, who was the then JCR president of Mensa Sabah Hall, who happened to be my senior back in Chorkor Presi Primary School. It took him to be the one to introduce me to Sumanguru Kante, who was also then my dear mate as Mensa Sabah Hall. And then Sumanguru Kante connected me to Baba. Baba now
Connections.
see, Baba, one Muslim guy, you know, be Christian chef, but see how the connections they happen. That was how I entered the replica jersey business. Friendship. He took my classmate from Legon, Nesraf Okan, to connect me to Emmanuel Aburinya, through whom this Canada opportunity came. Right? My first time to way, I go do bad boy thing. We they go womanize, it be friends. Friend to way you go do woman business, womanizing girlfriend, it be friends. So some of you watching me right now, the pornography they watch, it be friends. The they do, it be friend. The Yahoo, it be friend. The shower they chase, it be friends. Your life go destroy, it be friends. We need inspiration. See, we alone, there is something called de-individuation in sociology, right? De-individuation. Now, it says that human beings left alone on their own may not have the inspiration to do so many things. But when they find themselves in the right community of people, association, they may be inspired to do wonderful things or dangerous things.
Wow.
Right? There are things that me I no go fit do right now, but if I day boys inside, go see film go day. If you put me right now as a make a cheer Arsenal on, my favorite team Arsenal or Toronto Raptors to play basketball, I may not even chant for the next 10 minutes. But put me in a squad of boys and you see the morale that will come out of it. There is a power when you are in association. The Bible says that it's not good for a man to be alone. That is what God has given us companions, right? Beyond families, friends beyond families. But friendship is a two-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. If you have the wrong guys around you, it will destroy you. It will destroy you. The prodigal son like this, he left house, go out, go make friends. You see how in life make. For the Bible inside. Go make your own friends. See how in life then within a short time. In life went from up like this to down. It is him. But somebody today will feel miss on friend way will be in destiny was shaper. Go shape up. So if you're watching me, I guess what I'm trying to say is that be very intentional about who you allow into your life. There are some friends we choose. There are some friends who bring themselves onto us like trash. But you have an option to decide who you share your private space with. And University was probably the one place that I realized that there was enormous power in that community at the university. The university community is a microcosm of the entire country. Your university is like a preview of your entire country. You have people from different parts of the country all on the same campus with you. People from the north, people from the south, people from the rich home, people from the poor homes, all of them connected with you. Can you imagine what will happen if you are just linking? That same University of Ghana, Akufo-Addo came out of there. That same University of Ghana, Mahama come out from there. That same University of Ghana, the caliber of people who came out of there. That same University of Ghana, our celebrities came out of there. So you on the campus at the tertiary level or the polytechnic level, do you know who is walking around you? Can you identify those who are the future change makers who are walking around you that God has put around you and made your resources for you to leverage and then build your life on? and it takes a different kind of understanding. A book that probably also made me take friendship big time or big serious. There's a book called The 12 Pillars by Jim Rohn and Chris Widener. When I was in Legon, I read that, and as a part of it, there was a chapter that really stuck with me. It was the law of association, when they talked about association and who you associate with, and how you become like, a kind of or a reflection of the same version of the people you spend your life with. And there was another wise man who also said that, look, if you walk around with nine broke friends, guaranteed you'll be the number 10, right? Uh, Birds of the same feather flock together, right?
Flock
That's
together.
why when you see a womanizer, the kind of person where they hang around the womanizer, so because that womanizer, he needs an inspiration to do what he's doing. And he cannot get it by hanging around with a Christian who is not a womanizer. So he
Yeah.
needs more womanizing friends too. If you see somebody who is a drunkard watching life very well, in friends mostly be drunkards. You see somebody too where he be talkative or he be something else. You see, so
Mm.
friendship has an algorithm. The algorithm will bring more of that kind of friend into your life. The moment you are, it's like a legion. The moment you allow one bad friend, Charlie, you open the door to so many. The moment you allow one good friend, you open the door. What is so true, or what is true, is that you as a human being, you have the power to be intentional to decide who comes into your life. I have never been as
That's true.
serious as I am now. I carefully decide who gets access to my phone number. I carefully decide who becomes my friend on social media. I carefully decide who I even connect with. Why? Because I'm aware that these people are not neutral beings. Neutral being means somebody you meet who doesn't have any effect on you. Anybody you meet, whether you like it or not, would have an effect on you. It will either be positive or
Yeah.
negative, guaranteed. There are some people when you meet, you've reset the clock of your life backwards. There are some people when you meet, your life actually goes on an upward trajectory. Be serious about who you
Mm.
connect with. Be intentional. Spend time at the right places. Don't just sit home and wish that good friends will come to you. Make the effort. I made the effort to connect with Emmanuel Aburinya. I was not the only person who visited Ernest Rafokan's room, but when I was there, I made the effort to connect with him. When you make the effort to connect with people, you are intentional. You want to know them beyond the banalities, beyond hi, bro, how are you? No. Friendship is deeper than just hi. You must make the effort to get to know people. If you really think that they are of value, make the effort to know them. Go beyond the surface. There are times we meet people and say, hello, how are you? You say, I'm doing fine. But beyond the I'm doing fine, there is more going on in their life that you wouldn't know until you are able to gain their trust. Make the effort. And when you know how to make friendship or build the right friendship, you notice that you become an influential person. Smart people or successful people focus on building the right kind of associations. They call them their masterminds because that is where their energies can be what refueled. That is where their passions can be what re-energized and all of that. And that is where they are able to get some accountability, as I mentioned, accountability officer or police officer, somebody who can wake you up and say, bro, a Chorkor Millionaire in life who can say, man, wake up. So that's some of you who are connecting with us is because, Charlie, you are looking for that extra edge where we become your social media
Mm.
what? Buddies. And you know when you come to us, you can tap into the energy and get a fire and get go.
Yeah.
Sometimes all you need is a little spark and then you're gone with it. Right. Now, Canada. So for now, a lot of people know that I came here through scholarship. I had a full scholarship. I never used a penny from my pocket to pay for my scholarship to do my master's degree. The good thing about Canada
Wow.
is that there is scholarship from all levels, college level, which is similar to polytechnic in Ghana. Colleges here are similar to your polytechnic. And the university level where we do our bachelor's or master's or PhD, there is scholarship at almost all these levels. However, the most scholarships are found at the graduate level when you are doing your master's and your PhD. In fact, it is almost like anybody who applies for as an international student or even a local student, Canadian or permanent residents who applies for a graduate study for a master's or a PhD, and they meet the eligibility criteria in terms of the right GPA, the right documentation, the right letter of intent or what is called statement of purposes as well, and the right kind of documentation in general, especially if you are in a thesis-based program, you will most likely be given an automatic scholarship. You don't even need to ask for it. So let me say that again. Guys, I
Wow.
like repeating myself. It's not like other
Please
where
do.
you need to apply for the school and then you apply for a scholarship separate. in Canada, if you have a very good GPA with a bachelor's degree, right? My understanding now is that people with HND, which means higher national diploma from polytechnics, plus a top up. You know, some people do a 3-year polytechnic in Africa, and then they may go on to the university level and do a top up, like a 2-year top up. If you have those kind of combination, you even stand a chance of getting a scholarship now. There is a gentleman from Ghana who got a scholarship to go and do a master's at Trent University, Trent, located in Peterborough. And his combination, what is his combination in terms of education? He has an HND plus a top-up degree, not a full degree, not a full 4-year bachelor, just a 2-3-year-old bachelor's degree on top of the HND. And he managed to get a full scholarship. I promised my friends on social media that I was going to do a video on that. But those of you who are hearing this on this Twitter space, this is actually the first time I'm actually sharing the details of this information and mentioning the name of the school. He got a full master's degree, full scholarship to come and study. He's actually starting this September, right? That should tell you that there is a lot of hope. If you have a first class, if you have a second class upper and a bachelor's degree, you are good to go and get a scholarship. All you need to do is to identify the university that works for you and figure out what their requirements are. Check their deadlines or applications time for applying, because masters and PhDs or bachelor's degree programs will have a window, where a window means the starting date for application and the end date. Most graduate programs will start accepting applications in October, and then by the second week of January, they would have closed the application, especially if you are hoping to start in September, if you want to start your school in September, which is fall, right? So as we're speaking right now, we are about a month and a half away from the start of master's and PhD or bachelor's degree applications. So anybody who is targeting, this is the right time to start surfing the internet of schools in Canada, figuring out which of them is actually going to work for you. So a strong GPA is definitely a plus, but I must also tell people that applying for scholarship at a graduate level, either for a master's or PhD, is not just about GPA. It is about the overall strength of your documentation. Somebody may have a very strong GPA, like a first class or a second class upper, a bachelor's degree, but may not be picked. The other person who may be picked could be a second class upper holder if the other person has some other credentials that you don't have. Scholarships are competitive. You guys are trying to get free tuition. So they are going to select the best candidate from the pool of applicants, right? That is why when you apply, you can't just rely on your GPA. You want to make sure you also put together a very convincing or appealing statement of purpose, which is a 1 to 2 page, depending on the word count that the school will restrict you to. Telling them why you actually coming. You need to convince them. Why are you applying to this school? Why this program? What is your motivation, right? Do you have a research? If it's a research-based scholarship program you're applying for, okay, do you have an area of interest? Have you checked the department, professors, or faculty members to see whether there is a potential professor you could work with in terms of being a student that he could supervise or she could supervise? Have you done all this research? Have you even made the effort to even build some kind of introduction relationship with some of the professors in the department to see whether they will express interest in your background, your academic background as well, right? So it goes beyond just having a GPA. Now, there are also some people that may not necessarily have a first class or a second class upper, but they may have a strong research background. Maybe they didn't do well during their bachelor's degree, but then they did a master's degree in their home country or in foreign countries, say in Norway or UK or Australia or somewhere else or South Africa. And then at the master's level, they made up for how they were not a great student at the bachelor's level by becoming really, really good or successful research students. They've gone ahead to even write a research paper that is up for publication or due to be published in the papers or in the journal. They've probably also co-authored a paper with some of their professors. So somebody like that could come to Canada to say they want to come and do a PhD and use their unique selling point, which means their strongest strength, to say that they have a strong research background. I recently spoke with a Nigerian student, a female student from Nigeria, who had an appointment to speak with me. And she is currently based, I believe, in UK. And she has a strong research background. The lady, Charlie, some of her papers are even published, She holds a master's already, and she's looking forward to coming to Canada to do another master's. So when she called, we were discussing, and I told her, look, straightforward, you are going to get a scholarship. Because the fact that you even have some papers published already, or you have some papers that are ready for publication or under review, and she has this impressive resume that when you watch, you can just tell that this person, she's a scholar material. You know what I mean? Those kind of people, professors just want to work with them, right? You could tell that she's just designed, she's just ready for masters or PhD, right? There are people who have this kind of advantage. They may not necessarily have a strong GPA like first class, but they have a strong scholarship or research background. There are also people who have both. They have both a strong GPA and a good research background. There are people who may not have both of them. Just figure out how you can put an overall strong word. It's just like applying for a visa. It's not just about getting an admission. You need a strong proof of funds. It's not just about a strong proof of fund. You need a strong study plan or letter of explanation. All of these will come together to make you successful when you apply for a visa. So that is it about this, the scholarship bit. I also like to make things a bit easier for people to kind of understand. So I tell people that just like in your home country, you are confident to say that not all universities will be ranked the same in terms of competency, achievement, and the strength of their research. These are the same. Some universities are more globally reputable or reputed than other ones, right? I like you to sit back and ask yourself, based on my own skill set, based on my GPA, based on my research background, did I do a thesis during my first degree or I didn't do? Do I have a professional work experience on top of my bachelor's or my HND or I do not have? Some of you may be fresh graduate with zero work experience on top of your education. Some of you have a combination of work experience, what we call professional work experience. That may either be so aligned with your previous study or maybe not exactly aligned. Some of you may have worked with different research organizations or policy think tanks and what have you and what have you and what have you. Look, when you are applying, I want you to sit down and analyze yourself and ask yourself, am I an A candidate or a B candidate or a C candidate? An A candidate is your top student, first class, second class, upper with strong research backgrounds, or may even have gone beyond a bachelor's degree to do a master's in another country or in their own country and was successful, really successful in the master's. If they did not do a master's, they may have just done a bachelor's, but they are really good. Like me, I didn't do master's in Ghana, but I was an A student. I was an A student. Grades were good. I knew how to write like really good SOPs. So I knew I could leverage that. I was an A student. All right. Now, or are you a B candidate, second class upper, with some research background or not some research background, second class upper with a master's or just a professional work experience on top, or you're a C candidate. C candidate here will mean I have a second class lower, I have a third class, or I just had a pass, I didn't do so well, and I didn't even have the chance to maybe do another master's degree. If I did another master's degree, I was not the most outstanding among my peers. I don't have any papers to my credit. I haven't published anything. Or I'm a C candidate because, well, I have a second class lower and I also have a professional work experience, which is not necessarily connected to what I studied back in my university or my HND, right? Or I'm a C candidate because I didn't do so well at the university and I'm a jobless person with nothing going on right now. Now, you see, if you're able to zone yourself like this, right, you are able to also now sit back and zone the universities you're applying to see which of them will be the right fit for you. If a C candidate goes to apply to A class universities, would they be admitted? No, highly not, because it's too competitive. You see, think of it like me having a third class or a second class lower with no research background, no thesis, no work experience, nothing, not an impressive resume. I am not able to write a very strong statement of purpose. I don't even have a research topic. You have to literally beg me to ask me. So when you get a chance to go to Harvard, what are you going to study? I don't know. So with somebody like me, should I be going for Harvard? Should I be going for Cambridge?
Definitely
Definitely
not.
not, right? That is a C class overestimating that they can get into Harvard. It's not possible. If it's possible, it's a miracle. You need to enter the Guinness Book of Record because it's too, yeah, you know what I mean? If you know yourself, you are able to zone your schools well. In Canada, you can zone schools into 3 tiers. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. Tier 1, the McGill universities, the universities of Toronto, right? The universities of Ottawa, the Kingston universities, the universities of Alberta, the University of Carleton that rejected me in 2012, even though I had a first class. Yeah. It was too competitive. They will come back and tell you it's too competitive. Tier C students should target Tier C schools. Tier B students or B students should target B schools. A students most likely can target A schools. Even you, if you'll be A students, don't put all your eggs in the basket of the A schools. Spread some of them to the B schools. So that's how what happened to me. Even though I was an A student, I didn't get into that competitive culture university. So you know what I did? I dropped my level where I come the B schools now. Whereas I did the B school now, they say, yeah, call back, no back, carry your bag and come to Canada. Yeah. If you target C schools, some of the C schools, and by the way, when I say C schools, I'm not downgrading any school. I'm just telling in terms of the global ranking of the schools, their research achievements, how well regarded they are globally, how their students are known in terms of transition and how they impact the world. A C school could be like a Memorial University of Newfoundland. It's not your biggest university. It's not a favorite university that the top students in Canada will go to. But guess what? He probably would do the job for a B student or a C student with a second class lower. Even with your second class lower, the grade alone is not enough. You need to have other things going on well, like a strong SOP. I have personally assisted people in the past with second class lower who got into Memorial University and got full scholarship. But imagine if they had applied to University of Toronto, who they go give them admission for them? Or Queen's University. Queen's University where is Sankuma Dankogo. You know, is Sankuma for Ghana, the lawyer. They went to Queen's University. And when you see them in the media, you can tell these are prophets, top intellectuals, right? Know yourself. I have a video on my YouTube channel with the title, How to Secure Scholarship in Full Scholarship in Canada. It's about 6-7 minutes video. I took time to actually group the schools in their different tiers. And I believe this is one thing that a lot of people don't know. They want to come to Canada. They want to do a master's, but they just don't know which schools will fit into their profile. Right? Think of it, guys. Those of us from Ghana, let's be realistic. So you get aggregate 21. If they go apply for University of Ghana Business School, why? Are you okay? Or the government of Ghana has promised you that you'll be put on a quotas admissions slot. Me, several day we are getting single digit from a crack as about the enter business. You see what I try to talk? I try to tell you yourself. You don't get aggregate 21 from your high school and be targeting University of Ghana Business School. Because that place, people from Precept where they get 61617, they didn't queue. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. You know, if you get aggregate 21, then you go target schools where you see, say, yeah, Charlie, they will give you. And I wouldn't mention anybody's university so that they get offended and start getting off this channel right now. So, but basically, that's what I'm saying, right? So that was how I came here, applied, and the admissions came out. Charlie, the admissions then complained to UK come, US came, full scholarship. And Norway, I had 3 schools with full scholarship. My name was Charlie. And then Canada also came. And initially, I was leaning towards Norway. Now they won't go Norway because Charlie, the Norway, now they won't go cure my poverty for them. You see, I don't want to go cure my poverty for Norway. So I ended up talking to some former lecturers of mine, Professor Boafuata, and then Dr. Bosman Asari, who is now the Deputy Lecturer Commissioner of Ghana. He was my lecturer at the University of Ghana. So I went to his office, spoke with him and said, Charlie, he used to call me Jimmy. He still calls me that. And say, Jimmy, the way I know you, you are very business-minded. Charlie, go to Norway. Norway will be good for you. Professor Boav that to say, Norway will be good for you. So you see, you should always have somebody you can talk to when you are at the crossroad of decision making, right? I wanted to speak with those two professors. And then I spoke with friends too. I spoke with friends who were overseas. Some of them were in Norway, some were US. Michael Jojo Menyon, who is now a professor in the USA, was a year ahead of me at the University of Ghana in Commonwealth. So I spoke with him. Oh, he had assisted me to actually get an admission into University of Akron, Akron. I got admission into University of Akron with full scholarship, the Ray C. Bliss Institute. And Charlie, the people were so hopeful that yours truly was coming there. You know, I give them all the say I'm on my way. I'm going to work on my US visa, blah blah blah. They send me the documents and stuff. You know, where then I spoke with Emmanuel Aburunya in Canada. And I think the gentleman who made a difference for me Even though Emmanuel Brunia was the one who introduced me to this whole Canada thing, who created the domino effect of Norway and all the other countries we applied to. The one person whose advice made the most impact on me in terms of coming to Canada was Nicolas Declou. Nicolas Declou was a geography student from the University of Ghana in Commonwealth. I had established connection with him, or we became friends in the University of Ghana. He's an Ewe guy. And he had also come to Canada. I didn't even know. It was when I was almost advanced with my admission process and then getting my visa. That was when I connected with him on Facebook. So speaking with Nick said, Charlie, make I tell you the truth here. If you go Norway, go make the money. But staying in Norway after school is hard. Unless there's some white woman for their marry or something like that, Charlie. you know, he told me that, he said, look, Charlie, most of our boys, where they go Norway, when they finish, they end up leaving and coming to US or Europe or coming to Canada. So he's telling me the truth. That I will make the money, but I won't be able to stay because they have designed their system not to encourage people who graduate to stay. If you are going to stay, you have to pay back all the scholarship money they gave you. All right. Then he told me about US. He said, Charlie, US too, you go if you go US, so by US to black and white racism issues plenty. As I talk the thing, where my personal dislike about US also came in. I didn't like the US since 2001 World Trade Center attack. You know, the whole Iraq thing, how they went to Iraq and bombed Iraq and Saddam and stuff. Me, from that time on, I never liked US. You know, I felt like they were causing too much problem in the world, pretending to be protecting everybody and causing too much problem, destabilizing countries. So I never liked them from that time. And so when Nick also mentioned the aspect of, racism and how it could also be difficult to get papers after finishing school in the US, I just looked at it and said, yeah, Charlie, Nick is making a point. Wait, he sold me on Canada. If you're the only country where if you can, they don't want me to stay.
Yeah.
The way he continued to say Canada is just like US. Canada and US be neighbors. You did Canada, you go fee enter US. Even if you know one, you
easy.
At the end of the day, if you can Canada, we know one time where you get your papers for Canada, you can relocate to the US. Just like Elon Musk did. You know that's what Elon Musk did. From South Africa to Canada. Stay for Canada, got his papers after papers, where he move, go US, go starting thing for you. Yeah. So you can also do the same thing. So the guy talked the thing, Nick talked the thing, and I said, Charlie, Nick, this one here, you convinced me. Charles, if they talk this, or now my parties for Norway, Charles Abebio, David Amuzu, who were my seniors, they were already in Norway. These guys were even willing to help me by buying my plane ticket for me to come to Norway. Oh, they say, Charlie, you know, get a plane ticket. So we'll go buy the plane ticket, give you just come. They were ready. They were ready to buy the plane ticket for us, for me. No, Michael Jojomeno, University of Akron too, he was convinced I would come to school in the US. Charlie, but at there, you know what I do? You know the strategy I do? I accepted all those admissions. All of them I accepted. So listen to me. If you have multiple offers, always accept all of them. And the one that you want to use to apply for a visa, get your visa, then go and decline the other ones. If you go and decline, if that doesn't go through, you may have missed out on your other opportunity. I accepted all of them. And then I used the Canada admission process my Canada visa. And it didn't take long. I think it took a little over a month or two or so to close. Yeah, I think we did the application around early March thereabout. By May 5th, the visa was out. Charlie, as a visa come like this, the feeling be different. That feeling pass orgasm.
The serious feeling.
Pass orgasm. If there is any single person, you don't go and try orgasm. If you are married, yeah, that feeling pass orgasm. Hey, Charlie, I don't know how I say. Sometimes they walk up, you don't know where they walk to. You just walk.
Charlie. Your shoulders are up high.
They say, hey, yeah, me said that is so. Hey, the dream is the dream. Am I dreaming? Say, hey, I go Canada. Say, hey. Then from that time, I remember as I get a visa, then my walking all change. Be walking of pride. Oh, I they walk.
Be greeting everybody.
Make no mosquito. I they suspect everybody. I say, hey. If I did watch somebody say, I hope say they no say maybe you can carry my passport. You know, and as I they walk around and they watch, say make mosquito no can give me malaria, make I die for this country. You know, Charlie. I they see trotro, say you go see if I they see trotro, then I'll go see the back, the corner for the trotro. Trotro means our public transportation back in Ghana. I'll go and sit at the back corner, one corner. I don't want anybody to come and touch me with the I know. I was just counting my days and just waiting to leave Ghana to come to Canada. It was after the visa came that I actually wrote officially to all those universities and said, unfortunately, I am not able to come. In fact, if you want me to even pull up an email that I sent to them, I could open one and read the email that I sent to them. And then you guys will see. I waited, I got a visa, and then I went back and I responded to all of them and said, sorry, I'm not able to come. But this is what I also did. After I declined, I knew there were guys from Legon who had applied to some of the schools I applied to, but didn't get the admission. One of them, Pa Grant, his name was Pa Grant. I remember he was my junior at Legon. He was at the political science department. I quickly told him, hey, Charlie, this particular university where for US will give me the admission, where you say you apply, but they don't give you. I'm about to decline. I want you to quickly email to them and let them know that you are still on standby just in case there's an opening, if they can reconsider you. Charlie, way at
Smart move.
them, apply. So sometimes you need to be connected with people who are also doing things. So whilst they are declining an offer, you may just happen to be the one in line to pick it up, right? Somebody needs to reject an offer for you to receive it. Somebody needs to be docked by a girl for you to get that girl and marry that girl.
That's true.
Somebody needs to be a boy for you to get that boy to marry. You see, it be so way day. So I declined, and then Charlie, God used really, really generous people to help me raise the air ticket money. And 2014,
Awesome.
August 26th, yours truly landed in Canada as an international student, and then life began. So I came here on a full scholarship. I paid 000 out of my pocket to be a student here, and it came with a job. So I was a teaching assistant, basically being a TA for first year students, doing Poly 1F90 political science. And the teaching experience here was so different from back home in terms of being a TA. It's not your typical Ghana style where you go to a class and students are sitting, you are teaching like a lecturer. No, it's the opposite. Here, we just sit, we are like facilitators. We just sit and throw questions to the students, and then they just have enjoyable debates and conversations. And we grade them based on their participation, based on how they engage each other in a civil discourse. We are not supposed to impose opinions on them. We're supposed to allow them to arrive at the solutions by engaging. And then everybody's opinion is valid so long as they can advance it well. Right? It's so different. You just sit back and you are just enjoying people just talk. So what do you think, Tyler? Okay, he said it doesn't support the legalization of marijuana. What do you think? Oh, Tyler said, you know what? I think when people smoke weed, it has a recreational value. And okay, is that what you think? Does anybody object to it? And then, then you see them going back and forth like that. That's how their system here is designed, a classroom. It's not like back home where somebody is standing in front of you like a demigod, dictating those, and everybody has your pen, we are writing down. No, it's just the road opposite. You as a TA, you do less talking, the students do what they're talking. If they are not able to participate because they're shy, you have to figure out creative ways to involve them in maybe small groups, split them into groups of 2 or 3, give them simple tasks to see how they can work together in teams. Charlie, it was enjoyable. And
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. I mean, I really love your story. Chorkor, because of the way at the other side of the world, which is Africa, like most scholarships are sold to people who have to pay about 40,000 to 70,000 Ghana cedis, which is about $3,500 to $6,000. And so people think that you have to be rich before you can school abroad because of some of these outrageous demands. And the thing is, if you let money be your fear, you never attempt a single application. For me, I spent less than 7,000 Ghana cedis, which is about $580 from the start of my application until I landed in the US. And my major expenses were just like Homeland Security fee and then the visa interview fee. So just to create that awareness that you can apply with a small amount of money. Now, I have a concern which just popped up. For those without a bachelor's degree who are high school leavers, do they have some opportunity to enter Canada through the educational route?
My recommendation is that if you are somebody who could not get the opportunity to go into a university to do a bachelor's or any of the equivalent of universities like a polytechnic, to do an HND or national diploma, ordinary diploma, or a training college to do any of the equivalents there. And all you have is just a high school equivalent. Your best option is to target a college in Canada. Colleges are like polytechnics in Africa. Target them. Go for a one-year college. My top 3 provinces in Canada where if you're a high school leaver, you don't have money, you don't want to spend so much money, you can school, will be New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and Saskatchewan. These 3 provinces favor one-year programs leading to permanent residency. Ontario is just choked with so many people. 2/3 of Canada who live in Ontario. You know, it's choked. Life here is expensive. If you're coming to Ontario, you should come here because you really want to, or because you got a good scholarship here, or because you have them, you can afford the tuition. Otherwise, college education here, one-year college programs in Ontario is about 18,000. Cheap. The highest you will get is around 18, 19,000 Canadian dollars. The lowest could be about 15, 16,000 for a one-year program. But in other places, you could get them as low as 9,500, like New Brunswick Community College, right? You know, say my followers for YouTube, then Facebook, they have gone to blast the, they've crashed the dashboard for the Brunswick Community College. So rather, Ghana and Nigeria have been.
Yeah, I saw the notice.
My people give them too much traffic, right? But there are other schools. There are so many other schools that you could apply to, which are still affordable. Saskatchewan, you could target Saskatchewan Polytechnic. In New Brunswick, there are other schools like Alton College, Oulton, Alton College, a private college, but it is currently, it's been listed as part of the eligible college, private colleges that can participate in a government program leading to permanent residency. So you could even target that as well. You could also target schools like North Atlantic College in Newfoundland, which is so affordable under 10,000. The Holland College as well. Holland College in Prince Edward Island will probably then be your other school to target aside in Brunswick, right? Because the tuition there is just between 10,000 to 12,000. And after 1 year, you're getting your permanent residence if you apply. They don't even require you to have a work experience in like competitive job fields like the way other provinces will say you need to have a work experience in this tier or this category of work or not code, which is national occupation classification in Canada, by the way. In Prince Edward Island, you can literally be a mortuary worker, a cleaner on the floor. So long as you did your studies there, you apply. All you need is a 6 months of work experience in Prince Edward Island, and you apply for permanent residency, right? So when it comes to selecting, please, high school leavers target colleges. Only target doing a university bachelor's degree if you really want to. Some of you are bent on doing certain programs in university. So no matter what advice we give, you will still want to go and do maybe your bachelor's degree because you want to go to a business school, you want to go and do an MBA, you want to do this. Hey, those of you who want to go and do a bachelor's, go ahead and do. But remember, doing an undergraduate study, which means bachelor's, a 4-year bachelor's in Canada is no joke. The average tuition for a bachelor's degree program is about $25,000 a year. A year. So if you have a 4-year bachelor's, that is $100,000. And remember, it's nothing like doing a half bachelor program and getting awarded a certificate. If you start a 4-year degree program in Canada, you better finish that 4-year degree to get a certificate. If you do 3 years, if you don't get a certificate. So if you're not really financially cut off for a bachelor's program, which is a 4-year program, you want to be going for a college. I find colleges to be quick, short, easy, not as demanding as bachelor's and graduate or PhD programs. And the turnaround time for getting your PR is also really quick. And you can also get a really like budget school or program to actually go for as well. If you're really strategic and you're following the right communities on social media, you can easily get a 1-year program. For me, I'm an advocate of a 1-year college program. I'm a big advocate, especially if you are like my kind of background where you don't get money, Charlie, target a 1-year program in a province where you get a PR fast. That'd be my strategy. I teach people. If you have money, you don't have a problem. Come to Niagara College. You get to see me every Sunday. We vibe in church. We get around. Niagara College be 18,000. If you come to Welland campus, which is in the city of Welland where I live, you get to see me, but you're going to pay a heavy school fees, 18K. You see, my first semester alone said you 10K. Meanwhile, that 10K go feed do 1 year for another school. You see, so it's all about choices. British Columbia, another interesting place you can live. Beautiful weather. Summer is so nice. Sometimes they get too much heat, wave, and fire and all of that. But in the winter, it's the nicest place to live. Cost of living is also really expensive in British Columbia. By the way, the most popular city in British Columbia is Vancouver, which is like our Florida in Canada. You can also choose to go and study in British Columbia. However, guys, remember, choose a school that makes sense. I did a video on my YouTube channel telling people that school in Canada is no joke. If your strategy be say, you come here to come and work to pay your fees, if you BP, you go buy for yourself. Or when you can just make sure you buy some pills to come with it. Because the blood pressure is you either come in with your first semester taken care of so that you can hustle your way and figure out how to deal with the second semester. Or you're coming with your full 1 year if you are paying your own college fees. Our colleges already give scholarship. Some of them go pretend to give you small $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 out of an 18,000. Who they go pay the 16,000? No be you. So they can't hear colleges. If or not, they be you, they pay your school fees. Bachelor's degree in universities, most of them don't give scholarship. Some of them will give scholarship if you have an impressive GPA. Bachelor's degree, if you have a high school, and you want to use it to go and do a 4-year bachelor's degree, say University of Toronto, University of Alberta, University of Queens, University of Guelph, University of Windsor, then have in mind that you may not get a scholarship. For them to consider you for a scholarship, they will use your overall GPA or your performance. So if you have impressive grades, they'll give you. Some of them may also give you scholarship whilst you're on the program. For example, Kofi, okay, let me use somebody else. Ninsin is from Uganda. Ninsin is a high school graduate or holds just a secondary school certificate and wants to seriously do a bachelor's. She's not interested in college. She wants to do a bachelor because her plan is to finish and maybe become an engineer or become a medical doctor in Canada or be something. So she feels that, or she wants to be an auditor or an executive MBA person. So she feels that the bachelor's route is her best option. Great, no problem. When Nancy from Uganda comes and enrolls, and her grades from high school are impressive enough, like AA student from high school, Nancy could be considered for some bachelor scholarship. Or even if she doesn't get an entrance scholarship to start the program, entrance means once you are beginning, you get it. You see, she could be getting what we call an ongoing scholarship based on merit in the program, meaning that, okay, the school is now going to be monitoring your first semester performance, your second semester performance in Canada, in your university. And if you do well, they will say, okay, because you hit an average overall GPA or grade point of 80%, we are going to give you some internal scholarships. We call those ones internal scholarships. So the internal scholarships are more merit-based, based on your academic performance in a program. While the entrance scholarships are the ones you start your program with. You see them. So if you are going to do your bachelor's, know that your performance can get you scholarships when you're on there. There was a Pakistani guy I interviewed, and Charlie, a guy came to do computer science in one of the universities. He got a scholarship because he kept hitting those high GPAs doing his bachelor's. So he kept getting them. Right. That is the dynamic. Right. There is also some external scholarship givers or institutions out there that give scholarship, like the MasterCard Foundation, are known for sponsoring people from select countries to come put scholarship to study in countries like Canada, US, and what have you. So if you are somebody who comes through those kind of external scholarships, you could also, right, get a scholarship to come and study either a bachelor's or a master's or whatever. Some people also come through government scholarship, like Saudi Arabia. They sponsor their citizens to come and study in Canada. Canada doesn't have to pay for those students. Saudi government pays for that. Countries like we have Get Fund, Ghana Education Trust Fund in Ghana, which is a government scholarship to help people to study in Ghana or study overseas. The only thing is that it's highly politicized and turned into a corrupt venture. So merit-based candidates don't get those scholarships. Only those who have money to pay and bribe corrupt politicians will end up getting those. Or people who are able to open their VJJs and sleep with people will get those kind of, scholarships.
Sadly. Wow. All right. Chorkor, I would like to ask my last question, and I open the floor for people to send in their requests and ask their questions about Canada. My last question is, are there pathways for individuals with specific skills or work experience, such as healthcare, construction, and all that, to immigrate to Canada?
Yes, there are so many. Canada is one of the most dynamic countries when it comes to immigration. Charlie, the immigration programs plenty, eh? It's plenty, just too much.
Mm.
Sometimes me myself, I dey lose count too. There are many of them I don't know. Every day they are creating new. Every day they are creating new immigration programs. So it's one of the countries that has so many different ways of killing a cat, meaning entering Canada. If you are a skilled worker, you can easily come to Canada. And I want people to pay attention to what we mean by skilled worker. The understanding of a skilled worker in North America or in the Northern Hemisphere is different from the connotation it will carry back home in Africa. Now, in Ghana, when I say a skilled worker, we're thinking of a carpenter, a mechanic, a fashion designer, a welder, an electrician, a plumber, a barber, all these people who may not necessarily have an equivalent training in school, in a curriculum based. In Canada, when we talk about skilled worker, we are talking about people who have the requisite education required to perform to acquire those skills. Okay, so let me break it down again. A lawyer is a professional worker. They are skilled to perform the services or the duty as lawyers to represent people. They just don't become lawyers by understudying people. They actually have to go to school, get their credentials to become lawyers. That is how a lawyer actually gets a certificate. An eye doctor of optometrist, that's not just when he becomes an eye doctor doing surgery on people's eyes. They actually have to go through the proper the approved studies based on curriculum in their respective countries to actually get a license. Same applies to a nurse. In some countries, you need a license to even be a teacher. In Canada, skilled workers cannot operate without the necessary education or the necessary license. So when we talk about skilled workers here, we mean people who have the right education for it. An electrician in Canada, you cannot become an electrician in Canada without one, going to a college or university where you were actually taught to become an electrician by experts. You hold a license as an electrician in the country or province you operate. You see the difference here? But in Ghana, there is a possibility you can find so many people who are electricians but may not have gone to a polytechnic to learn electrical engineering.
Yeah.
There are so many people who will be a barber without going to a college to learn barbering. There are so many people who are hairdressers and they learned it by the roadside. So basically, our kind of skill set back home is mostly informal, whilst the ones back here are actually formal, meaning they actually come back with certificate from schools. Skilled workers in Canada can migrate to Canada and become permanent residents. The government of Canada has a program called Express Entry. I have a ton of videos on my YouTube channel. Express Entry, a program that targets global skilled workers with a minimum of about tertiary level or equivalent of a tertiary level of education, plus an accompanying professional work experience of minimum 1 year, who also fall within certain age group. So there is an education requirement, there is a professional work experience requirement, there is an age requirement, then there is a language test requirement, meaning you meet your ability to pass or to take certain language tests. And then they will also check your education credential as well by evaluating it to see whether your level of education actually matches what the minimum for the Express Entry program. The Express Entry program, anybody who successfully goes through it gets to migrate to Canada as a permanent resident. And a permanent residence is your equivalent of a green card holder in the US. Yeah. You are next to a Canadian citizen in terms of ranking on the immigration side. Mm-hmm. The minimum level of education, one more time, is tertiary level. So somebody with an HND, somebody with an OND, somebody with a diploma, somebody with teachers, training college certification, somebody with a master's, somebody with a PhD, somebody with a bachelor's. uh, they are qualified. In fact, there are also some sub programs under the Express Entry program that are called provincial nominee programs. Those ones are designed to fall under the Express Entry, but are regulated by individual provinces, what you call your states in US. We call them provinces here. And they are the ones that designed some of the provincial level Express Entry versions, what we call provincial nominee programs, may tend to even have a lower requirement in terms of education. For example, Alberta has their own provincial nominee program that could accept people as low as secondary school graduates to apply to become permanent residents. I've done a video on this trending on my YouTube channel. Alberta is calling, that's the title. Alberta is calling, where you can literally apply for jobs like cleaner, jobs like being a factory worker, jobs like being a KFC or McDonald's worker, jobs like being a Tim Hortons coffee seller, cleaner, those basic jobs. And there are also high-end jobs, by the way, but the basic ones are the one I'm talking about. And when you successfully get those jobs, it has a clear path allowing you to become a permanent resident in Alberta through their provincial nominee program, which is a subset or a smaller version that feeds into the Express Entry program overall, right? If it sounds a bit confusing to you, the whole Express Entry thing, all you need to know is that you need to have at least a tertiary level of education if you're applying straight to the Express Entry program. Or if you are going to a provincial level program like Alberta's own, check the educational requirement. It is secondary school. Other provinces may require tertiary. They also have a language test requirement. You don't need to take the language test right away. Check your eligibility and see how best you can get their other requirements met. And then when you think you have a better chance, that is the only time I recommend that people go and do their language test. For those who are wondering what kind of language test is required for the Express Entry program, there are two broad ties for the Anglophone guys. We have IELTS, what some people call IELTS or IELTS, depending on your pronunciation. IELTS or IELTS. IELTS as well, there are two types. We have IELTS academic and IELTS general. If you're planning to do Express Entry or provincial nominee, you will be needing IELTS general, not IELTS academic. If you do IELTS academic, you've wasted your money. You can never use it to do your permanent residence application under the Express Entry. You will need IELTS general. The two are not the same. The other type of exams the Anglophones can do is called CELPIP. CELPIP is spelled CELPIP. CELPIP is a Canadian version of IELTS. IELTS is organized by the British Council, which means the UK government, and then CELPIP is organized by Canada, right? You can do CELPIP if you live in countries like Canada. You can do CELPIP if you live in Canada and you're applying for the Express Entry. Or you can do CELPIP if you live in countries like, I believe, the USA, Nigeria has recently been added, and a few other countries. So you can actually write CELPIP from Nigeria. Ghana, I believe, has not been added yet, but some few other countries have been cleared to run our CELPIP in their countries. Now, our Francophone brothers here, they also have their own version. They have what we call TCF and TEF. TEF stands for Testo Evaluation Francophone. That is the Francophone version. You will need to write that if you're actually applying for the Express Entry program to be a permanent resident, to move to Canada as a permanent resident. Those of you who've been watching my videos on YouTube and whatever, you've been watching Facebook, you may have seen people who move straight to Canada as permanent residents. People like my friend, Dr. Roxen, the optometrist from Ghana, who was previously working in Saudi Arabia. His first day landing in Canada, he came as a permanent resident through the same program I'm talking about. There are people who have come, many of them have shared on my platform as well. Express Entry, I must tell people, is very exhausting. Where exhausting means that it's not a single shot process where you just go online and apply and you dump it in. It is a layers of process. And sometimes if you are not built for it, you may start and just get fed up, right? Because when you start, you need to check your eligibility and see whether you actually meet the eligibility. If you don't meet the eligibility and you start, you would have ended up wasting your money only to realize that you don't meet it, right? So it's always good to check your eligibility. Thankfully, the IRCC, which is Canada's Immigration Commission, have created a tool which you can use to estimate your chances of getting into the pool of applicants who could be invited to apply for the Express Entry PR, right? It's called CRS calculator. CRS stands for Comprehensive Ranking Score. Guys, don't worry your head trying to write most of these things down. Just go on my YouTube channel and type Chorkor Millionaire. leave a space and type comprehensive ranking score. It's going to pull that video for you. Watch it. I've attached the link to the tool. You can use the tool. In fact, I have a tutorial video which teaches you step by step how to even answer some of the questions and to check your eligibility. By the time you finish it, it will tell you whether you have the required points to actually participate or even to apply for it. It's point-based, by the way, meaning that they're going to check your education level, they're going to check your age, they're going to check your work experience or number of work experience that you have in the last 10 years. And by the time you finish answering all those questions, including your language score, they would have estimated a score for you. By the time you finish getting your score, you actually know whether you have a better chance of actually applying for this or you don't have a better chance. As we speak right now, anybody with a score of 400 plus is actually eligible to apply for a special trade. If your score is so low, like 300 or 80, most likely you don't make it unless you do what we call add-ons, where add-on means you activate a couple of creative ways to increase your points. You know what I mean? Yeah. Some people increase their points by scoring better on their language score. Some people can score better with their points by having a lower age. So, for example, the age requirements is from 21 years to 46. So anybody who is under the age of 30, when they check their score, they will end up getting more points than somebody who is over the age of 30. This is not to say if you are 38, 37, 40, 42, you cannot apply. You can. Just that the person who is younger will get more points and at the age category than you, who is what? Guess what? Express entry, skilled workers, they are targeting the best of talent all over the world. If you're a football coach, will you be signing on players who are older or young players who are 18, 19, 20, 21? Or will you be signing that?
Youngsters.
You see that? Younger people. It's the same thing with express entry. They don't want to be bringing in people who are closer to retirement or pension to be getting permanent residence. They are bringing you with this intention that you're coming to work. So they want to make sure they are getting young talent. That is why they are giving more points to people who are between the ages of 21 all the way to 30. And then the moment you cross the 30 mark, every year you are losing 15 points on your points. Every year you're losing 15 points, right? I just assisted somebody to create their profile, which means like putting their documents together and creating information together to apply for express entry. And the person is a big time mining engineer from Ghana, right? I can tell you, even though he has crossed the age of 30, there are other things he has that will help him. For example, he did so well on the language school. And then there are other things that he's doing to actually increase his points, even though his age is crossed the 30, right? I've shared with a Nigerian young guy who came to Canada. One of my followers moved with him to his entire family of 4 through the express entry program. Landed in Canada first day as permanent resident. The advantage with the express entry is that even though it's quite a process, you have to write your language test. You have to prepare for your IELTS. You have to prepare for your CEL paper. You have to sit and read and write the exams and pay $200-300 to write those exams. You have to send your credentials to evaluators like organizations that evaluate like World Education Service, ICAS, to evaluate is quite exhausting. But the good news is that if you successfully get through it and you find yourself in the pool, and the government of Canada invites you by issuing what we call an invitation to apply, also known as ITA, invitation to apply, and you get through the process, guys, you are just one step away from being a Canadian citizen. It means that you need a work permit. Others will be applying for postgraduate work permit. You will never need one. You will never need a student visa. You will never need a visitor's visa. In fact, you don't need a visa to live in Canada. You are living in Canada. The difference between you and a Canadian citizen is just one person can vote, the other cannot vote. Canadian citizen can vote. You, the PR person, you cannot vote. Right? And from the day you land in Canada as a permanent resident on the express entry program, 3 years after that, if you have not been traveling out of the country, moving out, blah, 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 you are eligible to apply for your Canadian citizen. That is how sweet it is. But this is quite a process. And a lot of people may not have the patience to go through that. What I tell people is that even if you are doing express entry application and you think you're a really good candidate, still activate yourself for other programs like applying for a student visa, right? So if the express entry is taking longer, you know that within a month or 3, 4, 5 months, you could actually be in Canada as a student on a student visa, right? And by the time on a student visa, it tends to even increase your points in the express entry pool if you finish your studies too. So there are people who were waiting for the express entry and they were not getting invited by the government because there were just so many competent people in the pool also trying to get their invitation. So they went the student route by activating the student applications for colleges and masters and what have you. And then they ended up within 2, 3, 4, 5 months, they're in Canada. Now they finish. they can update their profile by saying that then they now have a Canadian education, which even gives them more points in the express entry pool, meaning that they actually can get invited even faster, right? So don't put your eggs in basket. Canada is such a country that unless you have a real solid one game plan, have multiple game plans. I only had one game plan, scholarship. Because that was the game plan I had, and I was so sure I'll get it because I had a very good GPA, right? If you had to go and apply to Niagara College, why did you carry that money from? You tell me to make I go apply to New Brunswick for 9,500. Why did you go carry that school fees from? I didn't have it. I don't get it from Ghana. With my family, nobody go give me $500 have to eat $200 I know they get. So what they go sponsor me? I know they get government of Ghana get fund scholarship. So what they go sponsor me? Right? So me, I only had one game plan. It was the scholarship because I knew I could get it. If you're the type who is so confident you can get it, then target your one thing. But if you're the type where you should say, Charlie, right now, Chorkor Millionaire, then Danny Legend, them, or Peter Bewa, them, or we do videos where they make plenty, where they apply, you will have multiple game plans. You apply for the visa, say you have a game plan. Right by the people, put all them a host of business visa, you know, go well, if then where they get the blood pressure fast. No? They say, all them go from one. We see, by the way, Canada, they know if you activate more, you can do a business visa and apply for a student visa too. Yes. In the past, I used to think it was risky, but now we know the people they do. Where did they get that? So if you are happy, you apply for business visa. Do it. One woman from Germany, where I personally assisted her at some point of application. They applied for a business visa for the entire family. All right. Give me 1 second. My son just okay. My son will come. Let me see if he. I hope you can still hear me.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to say something with the whole visitors visa thing. I realized recently that you can actually apply for a visitor's visa without a bank statement. That is to Canada.
Oh, Danny,
Without a bank statement.
I remember that one we talk and we know they talk loud. You know why?
Yeah.
Based on your geography.
Oh, okay.
People in the US they apply, then they require bank statement from you guys. But we maybe they go better Republic and then you take to decide
Oh, Charlie, Africa.
You see,
As well.
it's hard being an African living in Africa. Just friends or people in US applying for business visa in Canada. They know the request make them upload bank statement. But we Uganda, you know, they will tell you they bring your mother in me, bring your father here. Oh, Charlie, guys, give me one second. You know, say me and the family, my son just will come, they will pick him up. Okay.
All right, sure. No problem.
You can begin taking some questions.
Right. So, guys, in the meantime, if you have a question, kindly send a request. I'll approve you as a speaker, and then you come on to ask your questions. You can also type in the comment section if you have a question, and then allow you to speak. All right. Okay. So, I think young boss.
Good evening.
Yes. Good evening.
I want to appreciate you people for this platform you gave to us. As well, Boss Jimmy, I appreciate your time and your efforts. I want to ask, I just got an admission into Khan College, and I found out that the college does not give postgraduate work permit. It's a DLI college, but it does not offer postgraduate work permit. So I want to know if by the end of that.
Hello. Oh, I think he has a problem.
I got this question. Khan College is a private college in Ontario. I actually have a video that I've done about this college. So this college can be a good thing for you or a bad thing for you. It can be a good thing for you if you have a clear strategy for applying to it. And it can be a negative thing for you if you never had a clear plan and you were hoping to use it to get your postgraduate work permit after completing your study. The truth is that these private colleges are not eligible for postgraduate work permits accreditation, meaning anybody who goes to study there, guaranteed you can spend 1,000 years there, you won't get, unless the government changes their policy about them, you will not get your postgraduate. So in a situation, what I could do is that even if, let me talk about being strategic to use Khan College, okay? Khan College, for example, I sure say they don't even charge application fee. It's free to apply. If I'm not mistaken, some of you can correct me, right? The deposit requirement is also about $500. So from a strategic point, If you think that it's difficult for you to get into Niagara College, Centennial College, Seneca College, Hampa College, Fanshawe College, Conestoga College, name all the schools that I'm talking about. If you think, Charlie, it's so difficult, Akan College will easily give you the admission. They will, that private college, be like say they don't even have time to even review documents properly. They are just wishing to just issue admission, blah 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 blah. Okay, so let's talk about it from a strategic point. If me, I be a man of strategy, where I not say I don't have enough time to wait for colleges to give me admission in 1 month, 2, 3 months, and I have a short time to work around. Or maybe I'm on a visitor's visa, I'm about to come to Canada, but I don't want to over rely on just the visitor's visa coming in and getting a job. I can quickly get an admission with Can College, quickly apply for a study permit before even leaving Ghana, right? Just before leaving Ghana, I can use it to apply for a study permit. Remember, you just got your visitor's visa, but I can use it to apply for a study permit, which is still allowed. You are allowed to apply for a study permit, regardless of whether you have a visitor's visa or not. You are allowed to apply. All right. So now I come Canada, when there's visa officer give me the study permit, he approve and give me. I have one of two options: either to go and actually school at Can College visa program, or not to go. The worst I would have paid, or the max I would have paid in deposit of tuition, would have been $500 to them, isn't it? I go fit ditch them. I can choose to ditch them. I can choose to ditch them. And when I ditch them, it's not like I'm ditching them and just disappearing in the system. I'm ditching them because I'm going to change the school to a public college, like the Niagara colleges, the Seneca College, the Mohawk, the New Brunswick, the other ones, where you know you will be getting your postgraduate permanent study there. So one option is that you can strategically use them to just get your visa and quickly change to a different school. How do you change it? If you want to change, all you need to do is to use what we call a web form. Even if you go on Google and you type Canada Visa Web Form, web, W-E-B, form, F-O-R-M. If you type it on Google, Google will generate the Canada Immigration Web Form give you. And then basically you just scroll the way down, agree, and start filling your form. It will ask you for your passport number, whatever. And then you just attach your new admission from your new school. For example, I went to Can College, I got admission with my study permit approved for Can College, but I really don't want to go. I just use them to get mine. I don't want to say use them, but strategically use them, right? But now I've secured admission to Niagara College, which is eligible for PGWP, postgraduate work permit. So all I have to do is to go and upload my Niagara College admission to Can College, to RCC, by telling them that, hey guys, I just like to notify or inform you guys that I have successfully changed my school. That's all you are supposed to do. Just inform them. That's all. It's not like you're going to submit a brand new study permit application. If you already have a study visa, just update and tell them that you got a new school and attach the letter of admission. Simple. Job is done. You see, then the second group of people, they are people without a game plan. They are those who may have been naive or ignorant about the fact that they may not get a postgraduate permit from studying that school. Do you know there are people who actually come and they think they will actually get postgraduate permit after they finish Can College? It is only when they are about finishing that they realize that they cannot get it. So such people, they are the ones who may be screwed because they may have wasted their entire maybe school fees. They may not have another school fees. And then they were hoping to get a postgraduate work permit leading to PR, only to realize that they have to do it all over again in another school. So I guess it's about who is applying to these private schools and what their game plan is. If you're applying to these private schools from a point of ignorance without knowing they are not eligible, then you are going to waste your money. But if you're applying to them knowing they are not eligible, but you have a better game plan, then it work for you. I hope that answers this question.
I believe so. All right. Thank you very much. I will take another one from DK.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, we can hear you. Please speak.
And it would be nice if they can introduce themselves. My name is this. I'm joining this country or where, then we can know where everybody's joining from. Good.
All right.
Okay.
Kindly introduce yourself and where you are speaking from.
Okay, my name is Choma DK. I am speaking from Nigeria. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Now, my question is this. We got an information from an agent about visiting visa. And all the information that was given to us was the first information that we are going to visit a visiting visa, like 5 years. They will spend 5 years visa for us according to the number of our date before expiry date of our.
Sorry to interrupt. There is a bit of echo in your background. I don't know if you have kids around. If you can move away a bit and just speak a bit clearly into the phone, because we don't want you to speak and we end up not hearing you. Okay, thank you. Yeah, you can go ahead and ask the question. Just make sure that you
Okay, hello.
Much better.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Question
Yes,
is
you can
this.
go ahead.
So when we got to know all these things that this guy told us was all about fake. Then one day I just go to my YouTube. I went to YouTube. I saw.
Please start from the beginning.
Okay. Good evening. My name is
Yes.
Shoma. My name is Shoma DK. I am from Nigeria. Then my question is this. I and my husband and my kids, we apply for a visiting visa with information we got from an agent that when we get a visiting visa, maybe they stamp 5 years visa for us, and we can stay 5 years till maybe within 3 years. When our visa, if we stay there 3 years, we can start seeking for permanent residency that are going to give us. And with our visiting visa that we can work, we can live freely, which was the first information. So I went online. I saw Chorkor Millionaire. I listened to so many posts he made, and I noticed that all he said was just fake. It was all false. It was not true. So what our agent said was just false information. Now we listen much on that. We now notice that we don't know what to do, and they're on the process. In fact, we're expecting the visa to come out any moment. Another, we listened to Chorkor's information about learning a truck, which my husband is on it already. He is learning how to drive a truck as at now. And my question now goes like this: can we come in as with our visiting visa, and also can I use it, convert it, use it, and find a college where I can study? Because that was my main plan. Then, can I use my visiting visa to obtain student obtain college there? I want to know to study there. Is it possible? Can I use it?
Thank you. Is that your only question?
Yes, I want to know whether I can use it to work. Can I use it to go to school there? Can I convert it there when I get to that place? When I come, is it possible for me to convert it? If my husband will be able to get a job.
Thank you.
Can I convert mine? Okay.
All right. Thank you, Choma. Agents. You know how I like to call agents. Agent WO1, warranty officer 1. They're standing there waiting to give you false information, take your money from you. The agent problem, or the official name for them in the immigration system here is ghost agents. Ghost agents. Why are they ghosts? Because they operate under the radar. They will never sign a representation form when they're filling a visa application for clients. So the visa officer sees that the client is the one doing it. Meanwhile, there's an agent operating behind the scene on everything. And the agent will often be people who are mostly not qualified to do what they're doing. They don't have the right knowledge. They are more likely to use fake documents and misinform people deliberately, because their motivation is how much they can get out of the clients, right? The industry for agents is huge. It's not something that started today. It's been there for several ages before the age of internet. Before the age of the internet, it's been there. People have been traveling using agents for a long. People have made fortune from this agent business. It's a tough battle. The only way we can get this industry to go down is by the proliferation of factual information going around on social media where people get to actually see things for their. Look, my brother, there is something happening in Canada right now that I've decided not to do a video on, because I didn't want to scare people too much. You know, when I did my video on do not come to Canada visit visa without watching this, and it went viral. YouTube and everywhere, it went viral. That is what actually opened the eyes of people. People were like, hey, we've never seen anybody say it like this. And then you ask yourself, why? Because the agents are not the only ones who are actually misleading people. Content creators themselves are also doing the same.
Yeah.
There are times when I watch other content creators, and then when I see, there's a tendency that we may hype Canada, but come on, not to that extent. Put things in perspective. And when I watch some of the videos on TikTok, and then I'm like, wow, is it the same visitors visa that I know? Or there's another visitors visa that is
There's another one.
How come they are not telling people the real process? Right?
Wow.
When people fall for this kind of short 1 minute videos that are just whetting their appetite, what happened? They just look for somebody who can help them get those visitors visa. And who is the right person standing there is the agent. The agent is going to be there. Say, I told you I can do it for you. You saw that video. So I told you. You see, Chorkor has even started. Some of them will even be sending you Chorkor Millionaire's video with a title, you can convert visitors visa to. And they know you won't watch the whole video because you guys don't like watching my videos to the end. And then they will sell you, okay, all you need is 3 million naira, all you need is 5 million naira, all you need is this. Look at what the agent said. You can live in Canada up to 5 years. Who told you that? A visitor visa can live here up to 5 years. The maximum you can stay as a visitor is 6 months, even if you are.
Yeah.
Unless you renew it and the IRCC extends it for you to stay, you are supposed to exit the country within 6 months, by the end of 6 months, right? Number two, it is according to IRCC law or regulation that people who are on visitors visa cannot apply for study permit once in Canada. If you're on a visitor's visa, you cannot apply for a visitor's visa whilst you are inside Canada. They expect you to apply when you are outside of Canada.
Yeah.
The idea is that they don't want to encourage you to stay longer. Visitor's visa has been designed not for you to stay, it's for you to come and visit. That's why it's called visitor visa. Visit, go. All countries, that's how they've designed their visitor's visa. So the opportunity to change it to a work permit is not just a straight line. You have to go through process. I've talked about this in my videos. If you change it to a work permit, not easy. You need to get a full-time job offer, or that job offer needs to be in a category of jobs that are completely excluded from needing what we call labor market impact assessment, LMI. If the job is not excluded from LMI, then you need an LMI for that job.
Yeah.
There are also people who strategically go to places in the native society where we have the natives in Canada. You know, the native, the First Nation citizens here in Canada. They have certain communities where they tend to enjoy a lot of immigration exemption. One of them could be that they could offer certain jobs to people without needing to meet certain requirements. So if you happen to live in a reserve in British Columbia or certain reserves, you may find jobs there that may be exempted. But it's up to you to find them, or it's up to you to get the right people to find you those jobs. It could be an immigration consultant who is licensed in Canada, helping you to find those jobs. But not your agent, man. The moment you tell me your agent is from Africa, based in Nigeria, or he's here in Canada, and he's not an immigration consultant, he's operating as an agent, I already know that 99% chance he's fake. Or he's going to chop your money here. That's a fact. But so right now, look at what I'm saying here. When you go to Toronto right now, do you know what is happening? Most of the people on visitors visa, they are stranded. They are in Toronto downtown, sleeping on the streets. They can't find a place to sleep, no hotel, nothing. They cannot afford Airbnb. Nobody wants to rent a house to them. You don't have a job in Canada. You are not supposed to stay. Who's going to rent a place to you for how long? Huh? If anybody who lives in Canada, they will tell you that even international students who are allowed to live up to 1 year, it's not easy for them to find accommodation. Because the demands from landlords when it comes to getting rental here, you need to have a credit score. Do you have one? You don't. You need to have a full-time job. Do you have one? You don't. So is it your money that you are bringing from Nigeria to say, I have money to pay 1 year rent? Most landlords will not even take that and give you their space because they are looking for more than money. The assurance that you are actually the right person to live in their house with the right documents. So you who is coming here already, accommodation-wise, is likely going to be difficult for you. Unless you are ready to burn your money in Airbnb or hotel. Or maybe you have somebody or a friend who is going to accept you to crash in with them. If you don't, you're going to be sleeping on the streets of Canada. You're going to be in downtown Toronto. When you go to downtown Toronto, if anybody goes to downtown Toronto, walk around there, you find a lot of our Black people, mostly on visitors visa, stranded. I, Chorkor Millionaire, I've decided not to do a video on it. The reason being that when I do it, it will scare so many people. Even the small video we are doing scare many of you already. Some of you are already having nightmares. Say, wow, But my agent told me this. My agent told me this. They didn't give you the right information. They didn't tell you the truth. Visitor's visa is the worst form of visa when it comes to trying to change it. Unless game plan number one. Before you even get your Madam Chioma, you say you haven't even gotten your decision yet. So this could probably be the best time for you to figure out between you and your husband, which of you will be a good candidate to apply for a college and put in a college admission. That one too, if you like, go to the agent, he will charge you another 3-4 million to do it for you. If you want to join people like myself and all the young guys who are creating content and educating you, creating platform like this where we are not charging you using our time, then you know that we can give you valuable information. At least if you didn't hear anything at all, you got names of colleges that I shared in this podcast.
That's true.
We have all kinds of platforms on YouTube, on Facebook, where you can join and be part of groups where we're actually coaching you and giving you help along the way. If you get stuck, people are there too. There's an option where you can even make an appointment to even speak with people like us for non-informal conversations, and we can have a one-on-one session with you. We're charging you 15 million? No. 10 million? No. 80,000 Ghana, 60,000? No. Will people do it? No. Because our industries in Africa or systems in Africa are set up in such a way that we have to always rely on people to get things done. We have to rely on people to get our birth certificate. We have to rely on people to get our passport. We have to rely on people to get a job. We have to pay an agent to get a house. So what is it that you are going to do without paying an agent now? The only thing you're going to do without paying an agent is marriage. That you didn't pay an agent to find you a girlfriend.
Even though very soon people will have agencies for that.
Exactly. You see, so madam, you could, as you are waiting for your decision, you could apply to a one-year college. Whether it's a public college like the ones I mentioned, or even a private college. If you have a better game plan, you can deliberately use Can College or Evergreen or whichever of them to just secure a quick admission to put in a student visa application. If your bank statement is still fresh, you can use that same bank statement. When I say fresh, it's not more than 4 months old, right? You could use that same bank statement to put in a student application, hoping that even if they approve the visitor's visa, you may also get a favorable response for the study permit. That way, if you enter Canada as a visitor, you do not have to worry about, oh, my study permit, can I apply from inside Canada now? Now, what about those who are in Canada? Is it too late for them to still apply? You just said that they are not allowed to apply. Guys, even though the rules say you are not allowed, some people have met real luck or grace. I have a tenant who came here on a visitor's visa, knew very well that she's not supposed to apply for a study permit while she's on a visitor's visa living in Canada. She gave it a try and it was approved. So that one we call it luck, we call it grace.
Yeah.
So some people have tried and they got it approved. Others also tried and they didn't get it. That means that it's consistent with the immigration law that say you shouldn't apply for me. I have a gentleman who also applied from inside Canada. When he was on visitor design, he was refused. And the officer said, for you to apply, you need to exit the country first and apply for the study permit. But it doesn't mean you cannot give it a try. You could, and who knows, this may be one of those that will go through. All right. The other options are asylum seeking. Asylum seeking is also for those who have very incredible stories that fit into asylum. For example, people who are fleeing persecution in parts of Nigeria, kidnapping. Those of you who have been kidnapped and reported them to police, these are the kind of stories you can easily use to say, you know what, I'm not trying to give you a story to go and use, by the way. I'm telling you that if you fall, these are cases of insecurity, that your life is in danger, that you could use to seek asylum when you come here, right? There are people who are also part of the rainbow community. You know, the rainbow community, the LG, they could also come and declare asylum, right? So basically, visitors visa people can use asylum to also get their documents here. There are also people who are victims of terrorism, like what we have in northern Nigeria, Boko Haram issue, NSAS. Maybe you're a victim of NSAS. Maybe you're a victim of Boko Haram in northern Nigeria, some part of Nigeria where your life is in danger because of that. Or maybe you are a victim of what is happening in Cameroon between the French and the Anglophones who are in conflict right now. There are people from Francophone who use that to also seek asylum if they're on visitor's visa. So you see, you can come on a visitor's visa, and if you have a very good story, asylum could be your easiest way. You see, somebody they come, they come from Ghana. There's nowhere in Ghana. There's no insecurity except poverty. Poverty, they use poverty. Nobody they give asylum based on poverty. No, they send you back. Akufo-Addo say, Akufo-Addo, President Akufo-Addo say Ghana's unemployment rate is even better than Canada. You cannot come and tell us that you go back to Ghana. That one they will send you back. Some people also use cultural barbaric practices, barbaric cultural practice to seek asylum. Maybe they are victims of female genital mutilation, or they have been threatened with female genital mutilation by their culture or their tribe, and they don't want to go through it, so they are fleeing. Some people can say, you know what, that there's this barbaric, basically, hey, with asylum, you need to prove that your life is in danger if you are supposed to be sent back to your home country. And you don't just say it, though. You must be prepared to show evidence if possible. You know what it means? Say if you tell them, say you be homo, let's go, they will tell you, okay, go and be with somebody, make us see. But if you have evidence, maybe threats, maybe emails, maybe messages, maybe video recordings that show your life has been threatened, you know, like recently, some gay guys in Ghana who were caught doing a gay party, and then it came into the media, and it was reported their images were all over and stuff like that. Those guys, if they are here on visitors visa right now, they can use that to apply for asylum. A simple cry. Yeah. And I was also telling you that some of the people today, they fake the story. Yeah. They fake it. They pretend they are, LGBT. They get the paper. Some people, they fake the story. But there are those who fake the story, and there are those who have credible, true stories, right?
Yeah.
The most important thing here is that asylum is based on the credibility of your story and the evidence to support it. There are even international students who seek asylum. I just don't recommend that people abuse this. The reason being that when international students all come and then they say they're going to seek asylum, you'll notice that what will follow next is that they'll start they're refusing visa for people from that country who are coming ready. Simple as that. So we just have to make sure that our people. But I know, say people, they watch me right now. Some of them will go listen. They'll go and fake their asylum story, and then they'll go and even come with a student visa where they will go seek them. Okay, if you go do one where the whole thing, you go say we all in some of you see, the truth. So some people come and then they seek asylum. Some people also come and then they find their loved ones here and marry them. Okay, but Madam Choma, you and your husband, you cannot come and be finding loved one here. If you find me, somebody chase. You cannot leave your husband and come and find a loved one here. That one won't work for us. But the single ones I may be able to find. The advice is that before you go and find a loved one, make sure it's the correct one. Because a loved ones they will sleep with you well, but they don't have immigration status. So you go make yourself look that way. One white person where they come up from Slovakia by himself, you know, getting work permit, he will use you well. Or one useless guy with there himself financially in life, no, they go well, they go meet up for a nice club, they go use well. So if they won't go down marriage right, for be strategic, yeah, it has to be somebody who is either a citizen or somebody who is eligible to apply for permanent residence, has a decent source of income, and is genuine in their interest in you. Not people who are willing to use your body, you know, especially if you're a woman, if you're not careful, Charlie, and you come on a visitor's visa, sometimes it will not even be the foreigners. So when our own boys, Africans for Toronto, then way they will use you. They just say when they realize the visitors visa, they will use you well. They will sleep with you left, right, and promise you papers. Before you realize they have cleared your womb. They have destroyed your womb.
Are serious?
I tell you. By the way, that's it. Let me read this message. Somebody that I met recently, two people who came on a visitor's visa. Let me just read something so that we can all learn from it, okay?
Sure.
Yeah. I met them randomly. They came on a visitor's visa, and their situation is pretty disturbing. Let me see if we can all pick a thing or two, or people can learn from it, okay? All right.
All right.
Look at this. Hi. This person sent me the message exactly a week ago, actually last week, Saturday. Hi, my name is so I won't mention the name. We met you at the so yesterday. We have a very big issue at hand. My uncle had issue with the connection people. It means the agent who took the data for us. So we didn't have enough information about about filling our application. Let me take that again. My uncle had issue with the connection people. It means agents who took the visa for us. So we didn't have enough information about the information. I think she meant the whole application. The information they use in filling our application. Because of that, we couldn't answer almost all the questions they asked at the immigration yesterday at the airport. They wanted to return us home yesterday, but we begged him, the immigration officer at the airport, and he gave us only 2 weeks to stay in Canada. Please, how do you think we can solve this? When I look at this person, their visa has a validity all the way to 2030. We are in 2023. You can tell they have 7 years.
7 years, yeah.
But how come they have only given them 2 weeks from the airport to stay? Meaning they were considered a high-risk visitors visa person. The officer had assumed that these people were likely going to violate the conditions of their visitors visa. 2, the immigration officer asked them questions about their application. They had no clue.
Mm.
You see why I know they advise the use of agents now. The agent you have paid money to has not given you access to see the portal. You don't have the login information. You have not even reviewed the documents he used. All you know is that I've given you all the agent my information. He's doing it. Hey, he's doing it. He will do it for you. You see, those people who say, oh, made the information on my agent, I've given the information to the agent, he's working on it. And they never see it. This is what happens to them. When they get to the airport and the officer begins to ask you questions about it, which they know, visitors visa people use agents, especially from West Africa, East Africa. They begin to ask you questions. You see how foolish you look. Now, this immigration officer is even too kind. Others would have actually returned you home and deported you and canceled your visa. But this officer decided to at least give them 2 weeks to stay in Canada. With that 2 weeks, I know say that 2 weeks they still go back later. So this one where they come, if they don't find any good stay or hotel or wherever to go and stay, would they not be in Toronto saying that they are homeless people?
Yeah.
You see where the stress come from, right? At least if they use agent self. I don't say some of us we will still use an agent. You sit with the agent, whenever he's feeling the thing, you are saying it before you submit yourself, sit and go through it. But most likely the agent will not share those information with you because the secrecy around how they do it is how they make their money. If they show it to you, you begin to see how simplistic the process is. So sometimes they have to hide it from you and make it look like magic. That is why they can share the login information with you. Some of you, it is when you started watching people like Chorkor Millionaire and Danny Legend and Peter and all the other guys out there, and Nana Bafu and Co. And then you started realizing this thing is not as difficult as they make it look. Yeah. Simple as that. I hope I've given our mother Chioma a lot of feedback on what she could do. Proactively apply for a school, either for yourself or your husband. If you think you have a genuine case that faces asylum, you could use that when you come. If you've been kidnapped before and you have reported this at the police station in Nigeria, you could build all those evidence and keep them in your file. Now, some people seek asylum at the airport. I just don't like doing that. I'm not saying don't do it though. I'm saying for me, it's not my style. Just because at the airport, you may be under a lot of pressure. You know what I mean? You're just out of the airport. You're just out of the plane. Your brain might not be properly rested. You're tired, long flight. I like to do it after I leave the airport. If I was seeking asylum, I would do it outside the airport. What do I mean? I will go home, set, sleep 2, 3, 4, 5 days, begin to touch base on the ground with people, talk to Africans who are in the system, people who have even done asylum before, pick the ideas. Look, this is the story I want to use. Do you think he has a chance? If possible, you have even gone to some of the offices and talked to an immigration lawyer who does asylum. They would have even listened to your case and tell you have a good case before you proceed to what? File it. When you go to the airport and then you file your story, remember, whatever you say becomes the evidence. You cannot just go back and change your mouth on it. So if you give the wrong story, you cannot go back and edit it and add another one. It's gone. It's in the system already. That is why I feel that those who want to seek the asylum at the airport should be only people who know what they are doing. If you came with your story already prepared, valid, you can seek it at the airport. But if you came and you are not too sure, be careful before you seek it there. Because if you seek it and you don't put the right story and the right accent or underlining factors there, all of it in there, it's difficult for you to just go and amend and add and delete and edit. Like the way they do delete and add, it's difficult. Yeah. All right. So that is it about the asylum as well. Truck driving is also there, but it's not as easy as you may think. You just cannot come and say, visitors desire to go track. You probably will need money to go to a truck driving school. You probably will need a right truck driving school as well. If possible, a truck driving school that has a good transition plan to transition you into becoming a truck driver, getting a real job, not the one who just train you to get a license and then they will abandon you and then you're on your pay for job yourself, right? So there are different ways to go about it. Overall, visitors visa is a very precarious visa or a very risky visa. It can be a good thing if you have a better game plan or better plan to go about how to want to transition. It will be a terrible visa if you have no game plan at all and you just follow immigration agents, ghost agents. Most likely abandon you when you arrive in Canada. You start calling them, their number will no longer be available. Right? And then, guess what? You know the people where they call me right now. If you the visitor visa holder, if you then meet it, then they can't Canada be they call. You know why? Because the agents know the fee. You know, so sometimes they ask us, so you go pay 5 million naira to an agent, right? If me they won't make, I can't give you the job. How, my sister? How? Eh? Yeah, the agent who gave you this thing, we promise you. The agent know if you can give you job. If you talk away the call right now, it's not fair. Right? It's not fair.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
You know, a lot of times people mess up and then later on try to find the right people.
I tell you, you know, and when we do sessions like this, you won't find them here. They won't come and listen. No.
Yeah.
They will say it's too long. Anyway, any other question? We can take about 2 more questions or 3 questions and we should be done. My answers are too long to give me. I try to give a very elaborate answer. So.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. We have the recorded session available. So after the session, I'll post it for those of you who missed the very vital details. I have a message from Julie Kess. She left a message for you.
Okay.
She says, kindly appreciate Chorkor for me. The reason why I'm on this space is to say thank you to him. I stumbled upon and used his video on the right airport to land in Canada without issues with the immigration officer. So that's a message that she left in the space. I don't know whether she's still here, but she asked me to let you get to know.
Your thanksgiving and your appreciation. I appreciate all of you who have been blessed and coming back to share. God bless you.
Right. I think I have approved. Is it Pega? To ask you a question. Okay, whilst he's preparing to be here, I would read a question in the comment section.
Okay.
Okay. Chisom says, I want to apply for study visa as I already paid my fees. I want to know if going with my kids, leaving them here with my mom, and apply for them later.
Yeah, it's a yes and no. Yes, you can go with your kids if you have the right funds. For you yourself, coming on the study permit, you will need a minimum of 30,000, really good bank statement for yourself, just alone. Depending on your school fees, I'm assuming your school fees is at least close to 80,000 for a 1-year program. If it is more than 18,000, you even will need a little over $30,000 because whatever your school fees is, just remember you need an additional $10,000 for your own living expenses. Then, of course, you have to factor in other expenses which may not be part of your living expenses in Canada, like your air ticket, you know, like your small things, like your books that you buy as a student. Your books are not covered in your tuition. You need to go and buy your own books to finish your course, right? Small things. So I will throw in an additional $3,000 on top, covering my air ticket and maybe my book supplies and all of that on top. Now, if you are coming with an additional dependent, say your husband, you need an additional $4,000 for their living expenses. Then if you come with a child, every child an additional 3,000 per child. So depending on the number of children, just do the math and add it on top of your 30,000 plus and see whether you have the right funds to bring them. Bringing your family is based on 2 things. Bringing your children is based on 2 reasons. 1, your ability to demonstrate you have the needed funds, adequate funds for your studies, your own living expenses, and their own living expenses. 2, giving a very good reason why you're coming with them. For somebody, look, my child is so young, under 1 year, under 5 years, so that I cannot afford to leave them behind. That's a good reason, isn't it? You just give birth, less than a year. Who is going to leave their 1-year-old baby with what? No, you're not going to leave your baby for 1 year with a nanny to feed. So it makes a lot of sense when you write that. You just had a baby is young, you want to come with your baby because you really can't afford to leave your baby behind, right? It's too young. It makes a good sense for an officer to empathize with you and say, you know what, she has a valid reason, she has adequate funds, let's give her the visa. Then it doesn't also mean if your child is more than 5 years, you can. Definitely, if your child is over 21 years, there is no way they are going to approve a visa for you and your child. Anybody you have as a child who is over 21 years is no longer an adult. They must do their own application. Coming with your child, find a good reason to give. If you have a young teenager who is of school going age under secondary school, or up to secondary school, good chance you could apply to come with them. Remember, it's more of proof of funds and a reason than just bringing them. A lot of people think, oh, I want to bring my whole family. And then when you go and check their balances, it's $10,000. So $10,000 for the living expenses of a what? Right? So it is more of the living expenses for all of you coming, plus the reason you give the officer. Some people choose to leave their families behind if you realize they don't have adequate funds for all of them. They'll leave them behind and use them as a proof of home tie. That I'm leaving them behind so that when I come and study, I'll go back to reunite with my family. But there's nothing wrong if you have the adequate funds and you want to bring them, you can bring them as well. You just have to make sure that you've done your analysis, proof of funds, and then you're good to go.
Thank you. Isaiah says, please, can one use the spouse's bank account that's in the United States as proof of funds?
Your spouse in the United States?
Yes.
Using your spouse as your sponsor is one of the easiest and the most convenient bank statement. Either yourself or your spouse, one of the easiest ones. Most likely, all you need to do is to prove that the person is your spouse, and maybe their source of income if possible. So if your spouse have a very good job in the US, you could add their letter of employment or their pay slip. If you think their job is not the greatest of job, you don't put on paper, you can decide not to add a letter of employment. You can just, there are people who even will add a bank statement without a proof of pay slips and letter of employment, hoping that the visa officer will see payroll showing on a bank statement, shows his payroll page. You know what I mean? Yeah. I personally will add a bank statement and the pay slip if my spouse has if my spouse is a factory cleaner and blah blah blah, I don't go add in a letter of employment because it no be job we maybe I'm proud of. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's add a bank statement and then I'm good. And then proof of marriage, very important. Proof that the person is your spouse. You said he's your spouse. And the word spouse is a legal term. It's not a roadside term. It's a legal term. It means marriage recognized by law, right? So if you say the person is your spouse, you have a proof of your engagement photos or wedding photos or a proof of marriage certificate, or some photos after your wedding as a family. Yes, add it, right? Add it. If your spouse has also been supporting you in the past, which I assume your spouse does, sending you money, wiring money, you could easily print out the money transfers that he sent to you and get a statement of it from the money transfer company. Let him request for it in the US. Let him call the money transfer company and request for a statement of money sent to you as a wife. And then once you add it to the supporting for a long time, Yeah. Of course, it's your spouse. There's no debate about if you are the right occupant. All right. Often at times people say it's my spouse, but they have no proof. No proof of a marriage certificate, no proof of child, no proof of a birth certificate of your children showing that you share the same name. Sometimes the birth certificate of your children can even show that you are the mother or that's a husband. You know what I mean? So figure out ways that you can think like a visa officer by giving them evidence that shows that that's your spouse, right? Of course, please make no go add a bedroom picture. Some people they make a go add picture with me that they get together. I beg you, I don't want me a date for visa, go refuse you the visa. One white woman said, "Oh, I have a fiance in Ghana. I really love him. I want to marry him. When I'm applying for the visa, can I show a picture of us when we're naked on a video call?" I say, "Hey, and then they be one idea, they can't see. How do you and you do your naked things? They can't add for visa application at the bed, bedroom pictures, not to that point, please. Okay."
Awesome. All right, so we take Al Hassan.
Well done, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I'm from Nigeria.
Right.
Chorkor Millionaire, thank you for empowering us, and we are really grateful with what you're doing. I want to apply for Niagara College. My problem is the date of birth on my WAEC is different from the date of birth on my passport. So I asked Peter Bawa, and he suggests I should go and do affidavit for the date of birth. Can that work? Thank you very much.
All right, so I have a detailed video and article on this for those who are on my paid platforms, monthly platforms, my subscriber group, for example. There are articles on this. I've covered this in detail. So whilst you have not applied for Niagara, I'm assuming you haven't applied. Have you applied or you haven't applied to Niagara College?
I didn't apply. I want to apply Niagara and BCC on this coming October.
Very good, very good, very good. So meantime, as you are planning to apply, here are some few things you can do. Affidavit should be your last. Peter gave you a very good suggestion, but I will probably look at it from a more primary source. I'll take it from the primary source. Not that we're trying to address it from the root. First, is it possible for me to have this error addressed by WAEC? Some countries, you can actually go with a proof that there's an error. WAEC may charge you some money. It might take a bit of time, but they may fix that error on your WAEC result for you. So if you can fix it from the source, which is the WAEC document, chase WAEC and see if it is doable. If it's doable, get them to change it for you. If they change it, everything is in sync, meaning synchronized properly. You don't have to do an affidavit. Now, what if WAEC is not able to change it for you? Then your passport, you can go to the passport office and talk to them to see whether they can amend it to also match your record. What record? Maybe your birth certificate. Maybe your birth certificate date of birth is what you have on your passport. I'll personally take it from the point of WAEC first. If WAEC is able to do it for me, great. If they are not able to do it for me, then you can get an affidavit saying that it was an error, right? But I will take it from WAEC first before considering an affidavit. Affidavit will be the last option for me.
Thank you. Last week I went to WAEC office and they said it's impossible to change it for me.
Then you do an affidavit in that case, okay? So Peter is right.
I already did it.
All right, okay.
Thank you very much, Chorkor.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Now, guys, let me touch on this right now. So he has an issue with his what's his name, date of birth, no be so? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he manages to get his admission at Niagara College, right? Using the affidavit, right? Now, here, I forgot, Niagara College, I don't even think they will ask you for your passport until at a certain stage of your process. And I did a video on Niagara College how to apply, but they may ask you for your passport name, but I doubt if they'll ask you to submit your passport page at the early stage. Correct me if you think I am wrong. Some of you who have done the application, they may not even ask for it. So you can actually use your actual, you use your actual date of birth. You add affidavit to Niagara College to tell them that, hey, under the additional document column, there was a typo error addressed by the court in an affidavit. Good. But then when you're applying for your visa, listen to me. This is what I would do. I'm not saying this is what IRCC say you should do. You cannot go and quote and say an immigration consultant or Chorkor say this is what you must do. I said, this is what I would do.
Yes, sir.
I will not attach my wife record.
Hello?
When I'm applying for my visa, if I get the admission from Niagara College and I'm applying for my visa, I will not attach my WAEC result. I will not attach the affidavit. Why? Well, I don't see how that is going to help me get a visa. I would just attach my letter of admission, my proof of funds, proof of assets, proof of whatever in my study plan, and then that is it. Police report and I'm good.
I also have diploma in medical diploma.
Look, guys, only the transcript if you think you have some impressive results. Those of you where they get F F F E E E F F F like application, is that supposed to tell the visa officer that you are one of the best students from your school, tell them that you are a terrible student? So only add your transcript if you think there is no issue and you have good grades. If your transcript is bad, keep it in your bedroom and give them the letter of admission. The officer is supposed to assume that the school has done due diligence before admitting you.
Yeah.
That's it. What happens is that sometimes we overexpose our dirty ladies, right? Unless it is written on the requirements in your local immigration office requirement website that add your transcript, then you go and add it. If they don't add it, please don't go and overshare information. We go. In this case, your last name is even different from your middle name and you are going to add all of that. And you are giving the officer more reason to now see that you are not probably credible.
So more preferably than to apply NBC than Niagara because NBC is more cheaper.
Which country are you from?
I'm from Nigeria.
But you know NBC has restricted Nigeria because my followers have scratched their dashboard. So which NBC are you targeting again?
Yeah, on October, they said they will open the...
But don't put all your eggs on there. You know why? They have changed the goalpost 3 times already. They said they were going to open here on the 13th, did they? No. 23rd, did they? No. The traffic. So don't put all your eggs. You can put your hope on NBC, but not all of it. put one leg on NBC, put the other in other schools. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Because if October, if you're not happy, you would day where Jesus will come.
All right. Thank you. We'll take one from Nana Kwesi. So kindly unmute yourself and then ask your question.
All right. Thank you so much, Danny, for this wonderful and educative platform. So I'm Nana Kwesi from Ghana. I should say, also want to say thank you so much to Chorkor Millionaire. With such an inspiration. I mean,
I think we're having some. Sorry, I think we're having some feedback. Okay, kindly speak.
All right, so I should say I want to also say thank you to Chorkor Millionaire. I was also born and raised in Okanshi, so I think very soon I'll be Okanshi Millionaire. I know CAB. I know CAB very, very well. I think we are neighbors, and when you were sharing your story, I could see myself in there. I mean, listen to you, how you started and where you are. I could say it's all by grace. I mean, for you to get where you are and also sharing the word with us. Thank you so much, and may the good Lord continue to bless you in your home. I have a few questions that I would like to ask. I think there are only three. The first one has to do with a dollar account. I actually applied to Trent University, and I think I went for my biometric this week, and I'm yet to go in for the September intake. But then the prime sponsor is my sister, who is in the States, and then she has a dollar account. And then at a point, I wanted to find out whether I was doing the right thing, like it being a dollar account and she being my sister, if I'm on the right track, or probably if there will be, qualms sharing there. And then the second question has to do with I'm actually going for a postgraduate course, and I was thinking whether probably maybe I would have to do my master's after all, so maybe I'm good to go with the postgraduate certificate when I'm through with school. No need for me to do any top up. And then I think the third question has to do with them. Have been denied visa. Trying to get it to the US, I think last year, yeah. And at that point, I was just curious, like, when you are filling the forms, there's a section that whether you've been denied. And I was told Canada and US share the same system. I was told to probably, if you need to be transparent with them and tell them, yes, you've been denied, or probably maybe just have to lie your way out. So these are the three questions I would like to ask Chorkor Millionaire, if we can probably answer to pick it up on there.
Even though it's thank you for your Okanshi Millionaire, right? Is that what it said?
Yeah, very soon.
I like your mindset as well. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Let's take the last one. Canada, US, they shared data, but we have reason to believe it. From all indications, it looks like, I cannot say this on authority that they've written it somewhere that I read, but from the things we've seen, it is possible. There was a gentleman who tried entering US from Canada, and he tried concealing his immigration status and his schooling status in Canada. He was surprised when I actually shared that video on my platform on Facebook. The gentleman was surprised when the immigration officer at the US border side started telling him that you're supposed to be in school, but you're not in school. How did they know? How did they know? Right? The gentleman behind the 700 Indians who were almost deported or facing deportation was arrested recently. And when you observe it carefully, you can tell that Canada and US were sharing data. Now, I've also seen people who have been refused or banned in UK and did not disclose to Canada, and they never had issues. But anytime somebody tries to conceal their US visa refusals from Canada, they always had issues. What does he also tell you?
They're sharing. Yeah.
So, bro, if you tell them, say, you've never been refused on purpose, not only will you be refused, most likely, or 50-50, you may be banned on top. You see, when they ban you like that, you say you're millionaire, go chop up for cash, no be Canada. Just be realistic and just tell them, and I give them a reason. If you were banned and it wasn't a shaggy reason, like you go use some fake documents or you go do some shaggy stuff where they catch you, be simple, you go to family with it, just say, I'd apply for this to visit family and I was denied. It's simple. That was no crime.
Please, can I come in?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I think honestly, the reason was I had a new passport, and when I was telling my boss, I had indicated that I've been to other countries which were in my old passport. So I realized the last state that I went, the woman, the white one was just going through trying to see whether those countries, like the passport, those countries visits were in my passport. But all along, I had really old passport in my Bible while I was outside. So I realized after the interview questions she had asked, so I was going through my passport one after the other, like she was just flipping through. That was when I realized that no, this was the mistake I had. But you know, when they refuse you or when they deny you the visa, they don't explain things to you, the reason why. But they have been into passport I took to embassy was very passport. I didn't add my names to the new one. And then as I said, they don't give you the right reason. They don't give you the feeling. To me, I felt like it wasn't a tangible reason.
Well,
Yeah, hello. Yeah, Choco. Hello.
Let
hello,
me
Chuck.
let me finish the gentleman's
Yeah.
question.
Please, good
Let me
evening.
let me finish with the previous gentleman's question. So, if it is that you indicated that you've been to certain countries, which you have been to and you have the visa, but you only did not go to the interview session at the U.S. embassy with those proof, and because of that you were denied, it's not a big deal. All you do when you're applying is to show proof that you have all those visas and the passport. You attach them. But one of the requirements when you apply for your Canada visa is that they require you to attach data page or entry stamp page and visa pages in your passports. So if you have those past visas and you're proud of them, show them so that you can clear doubt. And of course, when you're writing your study plan, you also take time to explain that at the time you went, you did not have those documents on you. So the officer decided not to give you when he couldn't verify. You could in a nice way. But if you think it's a matter of lie, what we call misrepresentation, that you said you went to some countries, you have visas, but it's not the case, then that is a bigger issue that probably you need somebody with a legal expert, immigration expert for US to help you, or Canada to help you on how you can put your things together. Now, the other one is about using your sister in the dollar account. Your sister lives in US, so as we all will assume that she'll have a US dollar account, not Ghana account, right? So you can use her dollar account, not a big deal. The most important thing is who you say she is to you is who she says she is. You say she's a sister, they're prepared to provide some evidence. Maybe you have some photographs. Maybe you have the same last name. Maybe birth certificate. That's something that will show. Or maybe she's been sending you money, wiring money. You have some evidence of that. You could attach them just to show proof, right? What was the first question? I think he had another question too. He had three questions. I forgot the other one.
That is the postgraduate certificate. If I would right after I was going to go for my master's, so that one alone is enough.
Yeah, should I do a master's program? Senior, right now, if they don't give you, you know, enter Canada, they think of the master's after. I bet come enjoy
Wait.
Canada. It's important to enjoy Canada. When you finish, way by then, your mind no change, say they go Ghana. Because Canada will be what it is. Then you can decide on masters. When I came here, I was also, well, you know, you guys, I've said in my video, do you know I came here with the intention of actually doing my PhD? But what happened? I didn't do it, isn't it? Because things change. Things can change within a month, 2, 3. For me, the most important thing is getting your visa and coming to the country and asking the key question. With this program I'm studying, what is the path for me to get my PR? Because your immigration status is the most important, yeah? You can be here jumping from one school to the other. If your immigration status is not resolved, when you run out of your student permit and your work permit, you eventually have to return to your home country, right? So if you have immigration intentions of staying in Canada, the first question would be, the course I'm coming to do and the province I'm coming to stay, do I have a clear path to getting my PR? If the answer is yes, start exploring the different ways to get a PR first. You understand? And then when you get your PR, you can now say, okay, I want to do masters. What is my reason for doing it? I want to do it because I really need to. I really want to do it because it's linked to my career aspiration. I want to do it because if I don't do it, I'll be sick. My wife will laugh at me, or my girlfriend will laugh, or my boys will laugh at me. I want to do it because it's a prestige thing. Charlie, that'd be when you decide to go for your masters, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
Awesome. I think we have the last question from Riafe.
And this will be the last question for me.
Chairman.
Yeah.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. What is your name and where are you connecting from?
Please, I'm calling from Western North, somewhere around BBN. Um,
Okay, nice,
yeah.
Western North.
Please, I have admission into Northeastern
I think,
University in Vancouver.
sorry, I think I'd have to mute Choko so that we
I am
clear out the
Okay.
feedback.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, boss.
All right.
Can I
Thank you.
take it again?
Yes, please.
Okay. Please, I have an admission into Northeastern University in Vancouver, Canada. And the one funding is my girlfriend's big sister in the United States. Yeah. And she's insisting that we have to go to the AMA and try to do marriage certificate. And also, she's a Muslim and I'm a Christian. And upon the application, with my CV, that's my resume. I submitted it as a single person. That's in I'm single. My status. And me being single, are they not going to, get back to my records as in upon the application and review that maybe I was single? How come within a short possible time I'm married? Because I applied in May, yeah, and all of a sudden I'm married with marriage certificate and all that. And she's insisting because she's funding. So I'm kind of confused now. How I need your advice. How should I go about it? Should I, you know, talk to her so that I'll go on my own? She'll sponsor me. Then later I'll come and take her along, or there's a possible way to go with her. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, from Bibini, Western North. You kept mentioning your name on the application, your status. Quick question.
Yes.
Which application? Is it a school application or the visa application? Does it mean you've already applied for the visa?
Yes.
Or you've already
No. I'm about applying for the visa.
Okay, so this is a school application. Your name, your status on this is single, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. It's not a big deal at all. Your status can change from being single to something the next day. The immigration is not their business to say, oh, at the time you applied, you were single, and it's none of their business. Their business is to accept the evidence that you are now married. Okay. Yeah. So even if you submitted your visa application today, wait the next day you marry self, you can still go and so long as a decision has not been made on this, you can go and use a web form and tell them that you have now married. You like them to also you want to update your file and add your what? You can submit a new application for your wife or her to be considered as well. It's not a big deal at all. Dr. Roxon, who came here as an optometrist to the express entry program, at the time he was doing his express entry application, he was single. But at the time his decision would have come out, he had married. He still got it and brought his family and the children and the child. You see how it is, no? So it's not a big deal. Now, the question is whether you and your girlfriend are really planning to be together. The answer is yes. Then you might want to consider that. I personally think your marital status with her gives you a stronger connection to her sister. Now we say either girlfriend. We don't improve girlfriend for God to know so. It's not a legal relationship that is that comes a commitment. So girlfriend, unless you officially say, me, my girlfriend, this, I get document to say, I bet you the parent will sign document.
Okay.
So you then again, parent will sign some documents and you need a boyfriend.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Have you signed any document with the girl's family that you are the official boyfriend?
Okay.
Okay, you can hear. If you can hear, I'm asking whether you have signed any undertaking or any agreement with your
Okay.
girl.
We are about to. By next week, I'll be in Accra to go to AMA and sign the document that.
That's probably the best option for you, okay? But if you know say you're breaking heart to can me now, can chase you for Canada. You know if you go use that I will carry boys when I Kaduna we can chase you. See,
Okay.
so it might be correct. Not be saying
Thank you,
you
boss.
can say you get one girl for somewhere. I will pray over your head. But otherwise, the marriage certificate makes you have a very strong connection with a sister because now you become family, right?
Yeah, sure.
Otherwise, you don't get boyfriend girlfriend relationship for God. unless you take countries like Ghana where your boyfriend be the man, the owner of that bank where the owner give car to one woman with the woman carry and go call them. Thank you so much.
All right. Awesome.
Thank you.
Over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chorkor Millionaire, for your time and the insight that you've also spelled out on this platform. I recommend that if you missed out on any vital details, just go back and re-listen, and I'm sure you find your answers. There are so many requests and so many messages, and people with questions, they want to contact you. And I'll simply say that look for Chorkor Millionaire on Facebook and also on YouTube. Just type Chorkor Millionaire, just as you see here. And also, you can follow me on YouTube as well, then Legend. You find it on all platforms. Lastly, I'm having another space that is coming up next week, 19th August. We are talking about schooling and working in UK, Germany, and Czech Republic. So you want to keep following and stay abreast with the information that is coming your way. Chorkor, please, if you have any last words for us, the floor is open.
Thank you.
We are ready to listen.
I am actually reachable, except that if you want to talk to me for free, it's not possible. My time is very stretched. I don't sit and talk to people for free. I have a portion of my 24 hours that I use for philanthropism, like the one we are doing right now, that nobody's paying me for, but we're doing it. So this one to take advantage. The ones I use to make videos, you can get it for free. Beyond that, anybody who wants to speak with me for free is not free to get hold of me, even though I'm not an immigration consultant, carry myself as an expert. But for you to get an informal session, coffee chat conversation, you have to go to my PA and make an appointment. My PA's contact is on my YouTube channel homepage. If you go there, you find the contact number there. On my Facebook as well, it's also on the homepage as well. Remember, if you're talking to my PA, it's under strict instructions. Many people contact you. They don't go straight to the point that you get an appointment. It's most likely not going to respond. They want to tell a message in Canada with that and reason most likely not. That is a fact. Because that is not what he said. He's not there to be answering immigration questions. It's just one point message. Anything beyond that is a waste of his time. Okay?
Perfect.
Make sure you're following Danny Legend. Great guy. You know how we started. We started like somebody who was using my videos as well and casting away. So who knows? Some of you tomorrow will be doing amazing things even bigger than I myself and Danny. And we want to be there to celebrate with you. But you cannot do this if you are not part of our